Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome to another edition of the AFC North, presented by True Classic. True Classic, upgrade your shirt game with True Classic. By the way, I know I'm not supposed to be in first, but since Ace is not here yet,
Enjoy what little time you have left, Sonny.
I'll hold this. Okay. By the way, I have
Yeah, I'm getting echo too.
how good was that World Cup championship? I saw Q.
That's right. Even Q was getting in on it.
Oh, Mbappe, man. You know, he was out there. I saw him. I was watching it, and I saw him do something where he was like, he went between his legs and it almost crossed somebody. It was at the end of the game where he like almost crossed somebody out. And I'm like, oh my God, is he about to go 3v1 right here? And he almost got it. And then he was mad that he didn't do it. And I was like, he must be really good if he felt like that was a reasonable thing for him to do. Because I watched that. I was like, I don't know what I'm watching, but it looks like what he doing is crazy.
He's 23.
23 years old.
And I don't know if you know
I
this.
heard that he's on the same team as Messi or something like that.
Yeah.
What, do they just win every game? Like, what is that?
They didn't even win their league last year.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
They play for Paris.
Well, I mean, Messi's not, I would assume he's old, right? Like, so he's not who he used to be. And maybe that's causing some like weirdness with how he gets used or something like that. But yeah.
They did win the league last. When did they lose the league? They just lost the league. Oh, it was 2 years ago they lost it.
It's like the KD Warriors. Whenever they lose the league, that's what they're judged on. You know what I mean?
Well, they play in the French league. The French league's not exactly
that's good, but
not a top league.
You saw this rumor that he's gonna go play for Miami.
I did.
Messi?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say Mbappe. He's too young to be out here doing things like playing in the States. But I guess Messi's at that age where it's like, hey, David Beckham got that bag too. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, nobody's gonna get the bag that Ronaldo just got.
Oh yeah, the Saudi Arabian one.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane.
That is crazy. Well,
anyway, we're here. I know there's a bunch of super chats. We'll get into it.
Scene change. We got a scene change this week.
Yeah, we got a scene change. As you saw, you see Aces over there being allergic to first place. I'm joking, Ace. You saw the thumbnail.
Hold on, wait, no, Sonny. I mean, allergic to first place seems to be the Ravens thing, right?
It just has to be December time, and it's just a little
in December.
The Ravens get into the first place, they fumble that thing every time. We're like, man, it's hard to imagine the Ravens not finishing in first place. They go ahead and say, "Hey, bet we about to fumble this thing."
Yeah, it's just a little.
We were first for a while, but yes, December.
I guess why every year we talk about the Ravens, somebody saying they choked. You know what I mean? Like every year, 2018, 2019, 2020.
No. The 1 year, okay, there's 2 years in a row.
Yeah, the 2018, 2019, they lost in the first round. 2020, they had a horrible showing against Buffalo.
When they lost to the Chargers that year, they didn't choke. I mean, they won the division kind of in a weird way.
But people are acting like they choked. You know what I mean? We had to have to debate whether they choked or not. And in 2019, I mean, that was a choke. That was
not great.
2020, not really a choke. They won a playoff game. They just lost the second round to a better team. You know, but it was a bad loss. They got beat badly. 2021, that was a fumble. But Lamar was out. And this is looking like another fumble. But, you know.
Okay, so
they can clinch this week, though. I mean, they're still going to make the playoffs. It's not like
they're going to make the playoffs.
It's not going to be like last
year.
But
the check engine light's on. It's like with the 2021, the 2020 Steelers. Where I'm like, hey, man, that check engine light is on. They are setting themselves up for a disaster.
So we have three games to go, right? We can lose to Atlanta. We could. We need one win.
I would suggest you don't.
No, I know. But I guess what I was going to say is we need one win. But that win has to be against the AFC. If that one win is against Atlanta, that means we need help. You see what I'm saying? So we can win 10 and not make the playoff if that win is against Atlanta. If
But
we
your
beat
your
the
games
Steelers-
left are Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, but if we beat the Steelers, we can lose to Atlanta and beat the Steelers, and we're in.
Oh, are you telling
Right.
me?
Bring it.
Are you telling me that the Steelers can massively ruin the
Yeah.
Ravens season?
Yes,
And
sir.
look, man, that offense has been heating up. What Tony was talking about, top 10 in EPA or something like that since like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I
since
mean,
the bye. Since the
they
bye.
played us week ago.
Hey,
They
you
just get
living on
warmed up.
turnovers, though. You're living on a turnover dream.
Look,
I
and
guess
you're forgetting
we-
too. They're going to be playing for Tony's right to not have a
That's
big
right.
ass Ray Lewis picture in his
No,
background.
no, we're doing
for
that.
a
We're
whole
doing. We switched it up. We're doing the hot chip. Remember, we're doing the hot.
No,
chip.
we're
No,
not. Yeah, I know we did. We never
No,
agreed
we
to that.
switched it up.
Nah,
We're not going to
nah.
do the
No,
we're
no.
switched it up.
Tony
There's
is
no-
lying right now. This
there's
man is a
no-
liar.
No agreement. I need to hit your wife up to know how.
No,
big
hold
that-
on. First of all, no. Second of all,
Or your brother. One of the two needs to tell me how big that steel curtain.
oh, I see. I was gonna say you can't lose. You can't lose the. You
I
can't
can't.
lose the bet. That's right. I was gonna say because what are you gonna do if you lose? But there's no losing.
Yeah,
It's
there's
only
no
sweep.
losing.
yeah.
So I either push or. All right.
Because you
Alright.
said a sweep. That's the turn.
I know.
so
I know.
you-
I got it. All right. I got it. We'll
Okay,
figure a
we
way to
have a-
double this down.
We have a couple.
This is
of
how we go. This is how we gonna fix Tony's gambling problem. Is we gonna have a continuous
No,
bet his
you're not gonna
background
fix it. I
until it's
just
all
literally was
other
thinking-
AFC North teams.
You're not gonna fix it, Q. I was literally just thinking to myself, what else can I bet to get out of having to put the Ravens thing behind me?
Double or nothing.
So-
Double or nothing.
So no, you're not gonna fix it.
You're Adam Sandler and Uncut Gems, man. Like he can't be.
This is how we win.
He's got to
Okay.
make another bet.
We have a super long list of super chat here. It says, Sonny, how about the Ravens? Play on the review. If I tell you what I think, we get demonetized. So
Sonny's rant today is going to be a 27 out of 10. I've been waiting for it since Saturday. I tweeted it right after
I
the
was
game
watching
was
that
over.
game and I was like, dog, they doing everything he hates.
yeah, you
you know-
sent me that message. My wife, and you know what? So you know we play Atlanta on Saturday, right?
Mhm,
Disclosure: Saturday is my wedding anniversary,
Oh,
and my wife finds
mhm.
out.
Anniversary.
Yeah, so we having a dinner, so I might not see it right at the start, right? And I tell her, oh, the Ravens are playing, but I don't know, you don't have to see it. And she's like, no, we can see it. And then she's like, oh, I know how you get when they lose. Oh no, we're gonna ruin this night.
it's not just like that they lose. I think if they lost in a way that Sonny could respect, he would be able to handle it well. It is
True.
specifically
True.
what they do when they lose, which is all the stuff Sonny sits here and says, hey man, stop doing this stuff. I would appreciate it. And they just go, nah, we gonna go for it on the first drive. On the first drive. Sonny was like, I know what kind of day it's gonna be, dog.
I was hot. Okay, Tom Brady's now 89 and Burrow when he has 7
Burrow, I like it.
point lead at home. Joey 9's out here doing what no other QB in history has ever been able to do.
So apparently Tom Brady was 89-0 before
Oh, good.
Before
he faced
Sunday's
Joe
game.
Burrow with a 17-point lead at home.
Gotcha.
Tom Brady was also like 169-0 or something like that with the fourth quarter lead going into overtime against the Browns. And then, the Jacoby Brissett broke it too. So, show some respect to the GOAT. Show some respect to the
listen. I don't.
Jacoby Brissett.
I'll just say you don't have to be losing to Tom Brady ever in a game this year. But anyway,
The AFC North swept Tom
you
Brady.
could just have the lead the whole game. That is a way.
Hey man, when you beat Tom Brady, you want to make it memorable. And how you
that's
make
true.
it memorable is you gotta at least let them have the lead for a
I have
little
a
bit.
question. Nobody has. Oh, so the Ravens have one AFC South opponent.
Stop
Nobody
it,
else.
because we play the Saints this week.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
stop that.
I didn't know. Okay. No, legit, I didn't know. Okay, so me and you have
The
one.
Bengals, though, NFC
left.
South champs. NFC
No,
Or no.
tied. We
Nobody-
also swept. We
Yeah.
also swept.
We
Yeah, but
put-
the
You
Bengals
also-
get the record tiebreaker. Both of y'all have a better divisional record than anybody in the
No,
NFC South.
we win the tiebreaker because we were never losing to an 89-year-old Tom Brady. So
I'm gonna say both of y'all have the entire AFC North, I believe, would be in first place.
Yeah.
yes,
I mean-
if they were dropped into
Yes.
the NFC.
You know how we had a couple of times that a 7-9 team made it before?
Yeah.
Can we have a 7-10 team make it?
yes.
It's very possible. It's
But
very,
weren't the Seahawks like 6-10 or something like
no,
that?
7-9.
7-9 is the worst playoff team
It's
we've ever seen.
yeah,
And they won a playoff game.
and they beat
Yeah,
the Saints.
Beastquake.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was in my honeymoon. Anyway, the Ravens play like you know what. Wait, you know what? But I will say this: Deshaun Watson did not win the Browns at game. Oh, that game. Just
Cope.
saying.
Cope. That's a cope. That's a cope.
All right.
If you tell yourself it's true, it might be true, but it don't change what happened. Do it.
Nova be
Stone,
like,
Nova
I'm
Stone,
just
where you
here
at,
so I don't get fined. Look at that. Look at Nova Stone. Shout out to you, Nova Stone.
Yeah, shout out to Noah Stone for showing up today.
Tom Brady had 3 TDs versus number 1 defense, plus no blowout.
How many turnovers did he have, Nova Stone?
What was the point
many
differential in the
turnovers?
second half?
How many touchdowns did Burrow have? Nova
34 to
Stone?
nothing.
It was 34-0. No. He
Your boy-
scored
17
Your boy
sticks at
Tom
halftime.
Brady didn't want to talk about Joe Burrow at the end of the game. He was like, he's a great quarterback. That's it, guys. No more questions. Whew, it's a little salty.
I'm just saying that's kind of like bragging about anything the Colts did in the first half of that game versus the Vikings. It's like, hey, bro, you might as well just punt all of that. You know what I mean? You're just bragging about embarrassment at this point. Like, that's weird.
He left out the Brady turnovers. I would too. I would leave that those.
What the Bucks have like
Steelers
5
also had
turnovers
the
in the
lead.
second
You
half,
guys-
3 in the
Steelers had
third
the-
quarter.
Steelers had the lead at halftime of the Super Bowl too, but it didn't, it didn't matter.
You
Didn't
don't
matter.
get a trophy at
Second
halftime.
You don't get the
You know
trophy at
what I
halftime.
mean?
That's right. They don't give the trophy out at halftime, unfortunately.
Sometimes they cut the power off, but
Your fans / haters want to know Kate York jersey.
Get out of here.
You see,
Get outta
he's poking the bear. He's just a second bad tweet for Play on the Review.
All right, Play on the Review. It's all for look. I told Browns fan this because when Justin Tucker had his second kick blocked, everybody was starting to go, Cade York, Justin Tucker. And I was like, every time y'all do that
They
shit.
say that really?
Yeah, no, every time they do something like that, Cade York does something to make you embarrassed to be a supporter of Cade York. And what did Cade York do?
I thought that kick was blocked, and it was just horribly.
I thought he had hit that ball like he was like he was a golfer trying to get a ball out the rough, dog. Like that's what it looked like. It looked like a chip. It looked like it looked like a Tiger Woods golf swing. It was just off to the side.
When that ball got hit, I was like, "Oh, we blocked it!" And then
I thought he was trying to make a penalty kick. You know what I mean? I'm like, I thought soccer was over. No, he tried. Like it was bad. He's just not even kicking a good ball. Like if he was just missing, that's one thing. He's not kicking good balls when he missed. Like I don't know what you do with that. What you gonna wait for year 2 to see if he can learn how to kick?
You had to cut him. Birthday dubs. Who are they? Well, shout out to you for your birthday. That's the nicest thing I would say for you today. Lars so here says soon Nova had a new QB1, younger and more powerful.
No, Nova Stone just gonna become a Joe Burrow fan pretty soon here. You know what I mean? He gonna ride that next wave.
Oh no,
That's
we've
what
seen
happened.
someone else. We had another super chat guy in the show do the thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Joe Power? That's just Nova Stone
type
hedging
guys
his
in
bet.
the game.
I feel like Joe Power 9 is just Nova Stone hedging his bet.
No. He's talking about mischief.
No.
saw a
We don't
bunch
need
of
to call people out.
type
I'm just
guys.
saying we have it.
He's open about it. He's open about it.
Michigan Brady jersey, New England. People was wearing Patriots Tom Brady jerseys to the game. It was nasty.
That's crazy.
I'm sure Nova Stone was there.
Are they about to be wearing retired Brady jerseys pretty soon here? Because it seems like homeboy needs to go home.
Yeah, he needs to retire.
He needs to sit down.
1% still alive. Have hopes for the Browns.
0.07, baby.
Yo, you're 0.07. We're 0.06, dude. Let's go.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Hey, go 1-0 every week and see what happens.
Right. Hey, last year remember they said, "Oh, no way, the Jaguars can beat the Colts." No way.
But had you
like my chances at 0.6%.
Have you checked who needs to lose? Who needs to lose?
The Chargers need to lose every game at the end. Oh no, Chargers.
That's not unrealistic.
Come on, dog. That's happening.
Yeah, the Browns need to win out. Browns or Steelers need to win out, and then the Chargers and I think the Dolphins also have.
Browns and Steelers can't win out. They play each other. That game.
Well, I'm saying Browns or Steelers.
Oh yeah, right. And then the Chargers lose out.
and then the Chargers lose out, and I think the Dolphins have to lose out too.
No. Dolphins are good. We need the Patriots to keep losing, which
I mean that's not hard.
And the Jets, and we're good.
Oh, so you guys, if you guys make it, we make it then.
Yeah, you'll be in.
Yeah.
Well, if we beat Atlanta, okay.
Yeah. It'd be pretty hard for the Ravens to miss the playoffs. Now, winning in the playoffs, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. We told y'all, Ravens fans in chat. We warned y'all. On a side note, after the victory, I was literally playing Warzone with Leonard Fournette. Bro added me on the gram, and we teaming up again tonight. Who they?
Did he fumble away the win for you?
Fournette a dub somehow. Got to try to get him a dub somehow.
Yeah. Don't sell him. You know what I mean?
Are you also playing with Kyler? He has time now.
Yeah. Kyler's got a lot of free time now, yeah.
Leonard Fournette never struck me as a man who was putting 20 extra hours into his playbook when he plays running back.
Victory Monday is great. Okay.
I agree.
I'm the only loser again. Someone said Ravens game could have been a text, and that Graham Roman, I'm assuming a test, and then Graham Roman. Oh wait, why? The terrorist also was inspired by Q's stream. Favorite place to eat in your hometown. Wait,
favorite place to eat where we are? Well, I mean, you're
Where we
this is
live?
like a dox yourself type of situation.
are you talking about where we live?
Or
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
like,
in the
in your
town,
city.
when you're in the
Like, what's the
town
place
of the
closest to
team
your
that you
house?
root for.
Yeah, this is like
In the
this is like
town,
dox-
yeah.
Because
this is
I
like a
will
dox
say
yourself
this.
situation.
I will tell you right now in England, here in my area,
Don't say England.
the best place it will be wherever you pick. I need just to bring seasonings and show them how to put flavor in food and say this
Like
introduction.
spice? You like spice? You're talking about spice? Because if you like spice, Gunner, you can change up the bet.
No. Spices, not spicy.
And see, this is why we can't handle this question. Now we gotta
Yeah.
move on to the next one because
See,
Tony want to
see.
try to change the bet. Okay. He's like, I'll go double or nothing with you. No.
If
We got another 2 weeks to work it out. We'll work it out. We'll figure something out.
If Gio still had
You like the
his-
Lakers trying to trade Russ. Like, dog, it ain't happening.
Trade deadline's not for another 2 weeks, dude. We'll figure something out.
We'll work out something. Yeah. We'll
You
take on
would-
the mid-level exception.
I will say this about the Geo thing, because Ace, I saw that you tweeted like "leave my man alone," blah blah blah. I disagree. Nah, if the player number 53 for the Ravens, right, whoever it is, same thing for the Bengals, Steelers, or Browns, makes a great play or awful play, that person's getting interviewed, even if nobody knew who that person was.
Yeah.
So Gio,
For me, it's not about him being questioned. It was how she went about it. It was completely rude and unprofessional. And, the way, like, they weren't interested in talking to Gio anytime before that. But just the way that she went about it.
I know, but that is exactly.
Well, I think the problem was there is, like, when you're doing that, when you're in a locker room, when you're credentialed, there is clear telltale signs of players who want to talk to you and players who are not open to talk, right? He wasn't doing a press conference where he was scheduled to talk after the game like the quarterback and select players are. If that were the case and he were trying to not answer the questions, then he's not following up on his obligations in his contract. But the locker room availability stuff, like there's a specific time and window that you have to talk to those players. And once you miss that window, you can't just be trying to chase them and get like they tried to. What the problem he had was you tried to talk to everybody else and then talk to me and have me wait so I could talk about this fumble and give y'all this quote. And that's not how that works. Like if you want to talk to Gio, you got to make it a priority to talk to Gio, and maybe you sacrifice talking to Leonard Fournette, right? But y'all left him alone there in that first run of media things, and then you trying to get him after when he's walking out, like when he's on his way out, about to go meet his family. Nah, that's not how you do it. If you wanted to talk to him real bad, you got to go right to Gio and talk to him. But you're not going to expect if the kicker misses the kick, the first guy everybody's at is at the kicker. So if your whole thing was you need to talk to Gio, you should have been at Gio's locker when you walked in there. Not everybody else.
Or I mean, the correct way to do it is to go if a player is like, hey, I don't want to talk, or I don't want to talk now, right? Because every player has to talk after the game. It's an NFL media obligation. You have to talk after the game. And if a player doesn't, I mean, you go to PR, right? You go to the media guy and you say, hey, I want to talk to this guy. He's not talking.
And then he'll talk to him, and then y'all get it figured out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the way I did think that her tone and the tone of all the players who were kind of like berating him, like, you have talking, what have you done that you've been hurt all year? What have you done? All that stuff was like,
that was like,
very-
yeah, it was like, and it was
Yeah.
like you antagonized him, and it was like, give me an honest answer now, Gio. And he's like, no, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
I mean, he
Yeah,
could leave. He could leave. I'm just saying. I don't know.
the second he gave you that
I
look,
mean,
like he gave
and
you
he
that
still
really
gave
look,
them
was
the
when you were
interview.
like, you pushed too hard. You're not getting any answers now.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Where's the Shane Sonny again? I'm gonna reserve all those comments because we're trying to get money.
Did you bring the chain on? Wait, did you bring the chain on?
I haven't in any of these videos. It's here.
Not about. We have seen, but I
We
don't want to.
saw
I
it
don't want
last
to.
week.
I don't want to leak. I don't want to leak some behind the scenes stuff. But you did bring it out during a pre-show.
Because you guys we were talking
Oh,
about
okay. Post show don't count.
yeah, you were talking about Ace's
Not
chain, and
sure,
I said,
man.
"Oh, I still have mine."
And then he pulled
Come
his
on.
out. It was a
Yeah,
trick.
I
It was a
show
trick
it.
to get him to
I
pull
show
it.
Look, I show it, and you can hear it. It's there.
You haven't seen the chef hat in a while, and you won't. You won't.
They're retired, man. Ain't nothing he can cook the actual food now. Like that's like,
Professor Chaos here says, "Q, did Tom Brady beat the Browns? Hey Tony, did he beat the Steelers? Hey Ace, did he beat the Bengals? Sonny, did he beat the Ravens? Shout out to Nova Stone.
Shout out,
Nah,
Professor
gotcha.
Chaos. Love that. Love
Yeah,
that.
I was like, where's he
that's
going with
crazy.
this?
Tom Brady played in 4 Super Bowls this year and didn't win any of them. Crazy.
Schwepped.
Swept. If Tom Brady were drafted to the AFC North, he would be just another Gardner Minshew.
I don't think he makes a roster.
I mean, I'm saying, what is Tom Brady without a great coach? You know what I mean? Bruce Arians, he wins the Super Bowl with, great coach. Bill Belichick, he wins Super Bowls with, great coach. Todd Bowles, he gets an average coach. The next thing you know, he looked like he's cooked dinner. It has nothing to do with him being 45 and everything to do with the coaches he's with. If Tom Brady went with the average coach, he would be an average player. If not in the league anymore, he would be XFL or something like that. I'm dead serious.
By the way, as I'm reading the super chat, make sure you smash that like. Bengals win out and they get the 2 seed or 1 if the Chiefs lose 1.
Yes,
the,
if
the
the
Chiefs
Chiefs
loaded.
Gotta
The
hope
Chiefs
that the Chiefs
looking
lose.
little
Thought it was
bit-
gonna happen yesterday.
A little bit worrisome the Chiefs are looking. I'm not gonna lie. Like, why did they go to overtime with the Texans?
With the
You know?
Texans, that's it's a little shaky.
They've had 2 of those games that year where it's like they have these weird
They
moments.
lost to the Colts.
The Colts,
dog.
yeah, it was the other one. That one with the Colts were like everything. Well, I mean, it was a lot like what happened to the Ravens this
A
week.
lot of people are just deciding to drop 8. Broncos. Now the
Yeah.
Texans. I don't know. Might have
Who
set a
really
trend
beating
there.
deep coverage? I mean, when teams really decide to lock in on you, not having Tyreek Hill is going to show up at some point, and that's where it shows up. So I'm low on the Chiefs this year. I would say the
done.
Bills and the Bengals are my
No.
favorites.
10-1, baby. 10-1, most
It's
underrated player. in the league.
Tony betted him.
I did better preseason, but
If Ravens beat the Falcons, Jets lose to the Jags, the Bengals beat the Patriots, Ravens clinch the playoffs. So you're telling me there's a chance? I mean, all those scenarios are very possible, right? Jets losing to the Jags, that looks possible, very possible. And Bengals beating the Patriots. I mean, look what the Patriots did last night. And okay.
Yeah,
Who
the hardest thing about that is the Ravens beating the Falcons.
That's why I didn't mention that one.
so probably the team that does not win this division is going to end up being the 5 seed. Let's say. Would you rather play
No.
the Titans or the
No,
Jaguars?
no. The Ravens can beat the Falcons.
Dude,
and
that's the
next
option.
two, right?
wait.
And then the
I'm just
Miami.
saying, like, if you have the 5 seed, would you rather play?
I think and that's what
Jags
I'm
or
saying.
Titans?
I think Miami
Jesus.
makes the 5th seed. I think Miami.
I'd
makes
rather play the Titans.
You'd
Trevor
rather play the
Lawrence
Titans,
is a little bit of a wild card. You know what I mean? Because
Trevor
I
looks
know
like
Ryan Tannehill ain't but so good, but Trevor Lawrence, he could be
Trevor.
much better, on any given Sunday. So I would
throw with
rather
him.
go against.
But going back, Tony, I think Miami finished 5th. I think the Ravens will finish 6th. So we'll
Miami's
take
7th right now in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but I know
but-
there's still games left. Yeah.
yeah. I mean the Chargers. The Chargers are making it maybe as a 7th.
You think
maybe,
so?
Maybe.
You think that when we get into that last week and the Chargers, all they need to do is win to get in? You think they're making it?
they're gonna tie. Ace, you hear what Burrow said about not remembering second halves of games because of concussion. I worry for that man. Get him in
So,
online.
yeah, I remember
didn't
that.
hear
That
that.
was before the season, so we're going back like 3 or 4 months. And
I
he
think he's a
does have
Steeler fan. He could
O-line now. They're not looking that bad at all.
I'm just saying
he was
this.
getting hit a little bit in the first half of this one.
I'm about
I
to
think
say,
that's what
if
you're
Joe
worried.
Burrow doesn't remember the second halves of the football games that he plays in, then he must be insane with a concussion.
He gets in that zone. He's in
You
the
know what I
zone.
mean?
Blacks out.
Concussion Joe Burrow is nothing to play with. Okay,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He get hard enough, the Bengals might win the Super Bowl this year.
Abdul here says, y'all really flexing on Lamar less Ravens. LOL. Respect to the dog pound on
Crazy.
your
Abdul, I knew you were gonna pull this week shit. Remember last week, everything
Oh, yeah.
that Abdul was talking about? Oh yeah, you really think you about to 9-4 better than whatever the Browns record is? Oh yeah, I knew you was gonna come in here on this weak shit.
He also did this when the Steelers. He's like, "Oh, you're going to make excuses because Kenny's not, or because Kenny didn't play, or whatever." Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you lose. Oh, sorry, we didn't have Lamar Jackson. It doesn't count. Oh, but the defense was healthy though, right? That's crazy. That's crazy. Thought the run game was gonna murder us. And you know what was crazy? The run game did murder the Browns, and the Ravens just refused to do it because Greg Roman isn't injured, dog. That's the problem. Okay.
I'm not saying anything. I'm gonna. Bengals are now guaranteed North Shams right ace.
I'm not gonna say that. I do not expect to move anytime soon.
We've all learned our lesson on this channel.
Q.
It painful ways.
Yeah, that's on Rich Eisen. And I call look, Rich Eisen is a great commentator, not in a live football game.
I'm saying Rich Eisen, like we know his whole get down, he's a goofball, right? Like that's kind of what he is. He's famous for running the 40 in a suit. It's just when you listen to like you have to just take into account, okay, man, he's just not like a serious person. Like he's just gonna
not a
like,
good
make
play-by-play.
You know what I mean? Like, so if you take it with that, then it's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with Rich Eisen. You just know something goofy's gonna happen, like Thaddeus Moss blocking somebody and then him advocating for somebody to go to jail because of it.
The Steelers, I believe, had Greg Gumbel this week, which I was pretty hyped about. Greg Gumbel used to be the A guy on CBS before.
He used to be the guy who hosted the show with Shannon Sharp. Remember when Shannon Sharp was on the CBS show?
Mm-hmm.
And then he like disappeared, and we're like, "Oh, Shannon Sharp media career died." And then no, it didn't. It did not.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I enjoyed that, especially
now they
Steelers
got
fans
Bart
getting
Scott
humbled.
up in there. Every time I see that pregame show, I'm like, who is everybody here now?
God, I haven't watched the pregame show, and
it's one of those things that got phased out, by like cable and the internet. It's like, why in the world would you watch the CBS?
They just kept making them longer and longer. It's like, okay, you make, it's just like this decompression stuff.
It's like, what I tuned in first on the field, 15 minutes before kickoff. That's what I tune in to it. But
no way. 103. Kickoff's at 104. So you tune in at 103. That's the right time.
Bengals D is top 10 all time.
Okay.
I love it. I'm telling you, I love it.
You know what, Joe Power? I'm gonna hold that against you. If the Bengals don't win the Super Bowl, like you had one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, according to you, and a top 10 all-time defense, and you didn't win the Super Bowl, massive L, massive choke, massive frauds, regression. They have regressed from your expectation. Okay. Don't you set yourself up for it. You didn't have to go all the way. You notice Ace is very, very careful because he has learned, okay, as we all have, about taking it all the way, because you don't got to do it. Because when you go all the way, it's going to be used against you. Just saying.
Yep. The AFC playoffs QB are gonna be Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Herbert, Tua, and Lawrence.
It's so hard to make the playoffs in the AFC if you don't have one of those guys.
I just love this. Herbert's in. Oh, Herbert's in now. The Chargers. There's no way the Chargers go now.
I feel bad for Justin Herbert because I feel like you can make the argument he's better than Josh Allen, but you really can't because the accolades don't add up to it. But like talent wise, he be doing some stuff. I'm like, man, Josh Allen can't even do that. And Josh Allen is like super talented.
Yeah, he's a great quarterback. He's a Charger though. So.
Yeah. It's Phillip Rivers' curse, man.
Tony, you want to pay some bills?
Of course. Let's do it. It's never too late. It's never too early to play holiday music, and it's never too early to start thinking about gifts. Of course, we're in Christmas week now, so you better be thinking about them. And whether it's for a friend or the friends in your pants, you can make this season to be jolly with Manscaped. Do your little drummer boy a favor and use the Lawnmower 4.0 to avoid another silent night in the bedroom. Then add in Manscaped's top-of-the-line shower products to have the people thinking, all I want for Christmas is you. Santa cares about his sack, and so should you. Look nice when you get naughty by going to manscaped.com and use our promo code AFC North Talk. That's AFC North Talk, all one word, for free shipping and 20% off. The Manscaped Platinum Package 4.0 is the one-stop shop for the man who deserves it all. It has everything needed to help you deck the halls from face to balls just in time for mistletoe season. The Platinum Package has each product from the best-selling Performance Package, plus it has the Ultra Premium Body Wash, the Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, and the Ultra Premium deodorant. It's the best way to smell fresh from your Santa hat all the way to your candy cane. The Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer and the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer feature proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to protect your delicate presence. Plus, both are waterproof, so there's no issue clearing snow out of your driveway. There's also a 4000K LED light on it, so you can light the way like Rudolph. And now that you've groomed your candy cane, it's time to make sure you don't smell like a reindeer with Platinum Package's shower products. All of Manscaped's shower gear is sulfate-free, vegan, and made to have your skin feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. But smelling good doesn't stop at the shower. The Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner can solve stank problems all day long. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back. The Platinum Package 4.0 sitting under the tree is guaranteed to put anyone in the holiday spirit. And for the perfect stocking stuffer, add in the brand new Body Buffer, an incredible body scrubber that makes exfoliating easy and a lot cleaner than that old loofah. So get 20% off and free shipping. But you got to use our promo code AFC North Talk. That's AFC North Talk, all one word, at manscaped.com.
Also, shout out here to our top tier Patreons. Adam Holland, Dominic Zulu, shout out to you. Thank you, everybody that has joined the Patreon, that has supported us. Patreon, we appreciate when we do those videos. The vibe is a little bit different. It's more casual. We talk about everything. So if you want to support us a little bit more, go check our Patreon. It's in the description below. Okay, I'm thinking we should go Steelers first, sure, because I think that game was a domination, in my opinion. And you can guys correct me. That was the game that we have here, not in England, but that I still have my Baltimore channel. That was the game that I had on the early.
That was your local game?
Yeah, because the Ravens didn't play. So that's
I see. Because you get the Baltimore feed. Okay, yeah.
So
he's in Baltimore, London.
Yeah, I'm in Baltimore, London.
Dear London, welcome to Mitch Trubisky versus Sam Darnold, the best the NFL has to offer.
I will say this: that game was not.
This shit came on right after that World Cup final too.
Right after the World Cup too.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the peak of athleticism, the peak of accomplishment, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Darnold versus Mitchell Trubisky.
The one thing I saw, Tony.
It's like following the Beatles with Vanilla Ice.
This team, the Steelers, really dominated this game, in my opinion. But the Panthers were hanging there because the Steelers were super undisciplined. We're talking about Deontay Johnson getting a first down and then taunting. Then I had never heard about the middle linebacker that on a 4th and 15 or 4th
he's not a linebacker,
12,
he's special teamer only. But
okay, whatever. Yeah. He decides to go in the middle of the timeout break, goes to the huddle. He's like, you know what? I want to make this game interesting. Let me get them 15 yards so they can keep the ball.
Yeah.
Like what? And so on, right? Like there was like penalty after penalty, and I'm like, what is happening here? It was the only way this game stay close, because this game, it was dominated by the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then your boy, Mitch, he did Mitch things.
I wonder what PFF credited him for turnover worthy plays. I had him for 2 in this game, but
Najee didn't look good either, in my opinion.
What?
No, he didn't look good.
Najee didn't look good. Najee literally started the game just running people over.
I was going to say, in the first half of this game, Najee looked excellent.
Well, the first half, and then the second drive of the first drive of the third quarter. Then once they put 8 in the box and they started saying like no one's running the ball anymore. okay, yes. Then the Steelers
Once
had to
they
throw the
realized that
ball.
Mitchell Trubisky was the one throwing the ball,
exactly.
It's
They're
like,
like, all right, we got to stop the run. Yeah.
we'll let Deontay get this smooth 98. You know what I mean? Like,
Deontay was eating. Deontay was eating them up. Like they had, like, did JC Horn even play? Because they didn't put JC Horn on Deontay. They were putting him on Pickens, right?
They were definitely without a corner because they had JC Horn did play, but they were without their other corner because the guy who played, I think it's
Deontay.
The guy who played was like, the Steelers corners or the Steelers receivers aren't that tough to guard. We just didn't, we didn't execute.
He did one of those.
is it Dante Jackson they got over there though? Like,
he was the one that was out. They had some other kid in there that I never heard of before, but he after the game had this quote of saying, the Steelers receivers aren't that hard to cover. We just had to execute. Well, Deontay had 10 targets.
Hey man,
10 catches.
it's always that though. Somebody's never difficult to cover. It's just you got to execute your coverages, right? You know what I mean? A team that executes and plays well 100% of the time. It's not like the offense has a role in making it difficult to execute, right?
I'll say this about the Steelers. I nailed their defense. When I said, after the Ravens game, I said, listen, this run defense isn't bad. They're bullies. Okay. And like any bully, they don't want to get punched in the mouth. They don't know how to answer, right? The way to stop a bully is to punch him in the mouth. Yeah. But like all bullies, what did they do in this game, right? They got punched in the mouth last week. And like, the sixth grader punched in the mouth. So let's go beat up some first graders. They shut down. The Steelers front seven in this game shut down the Panthers. My goodness. The Panthers were running for like 150, 200 a week for the last month. In this game, they ran for 21 yards. 21 yards. Now, do I think that this means that the Steelers defense is fixed and the run defense? No, of course not, right? I mean, the Carolina, as I said, they're not a bully. They're like very technically sound. They were running the ball well, but it wasn't, they definitely didn't have the bully. They didn't have the bully mentality. And so they got punched in the mouth early in this game. That front seven did. And the Steelers were able to dominate. I did enjoy seeing a little bit, as we get to this kind of part of the season where I know there's still Steeler fans holding out hope for a playoff run. And listen, I'm not going to say that can't happen because I watched 2021. So maybe. But I do think we're at that part of the season now where it's like, all right, let's look at the young kids and let's see how they're doing. We did get to see a little bit in this game of DeMarvin Leal, the rookie, the third rounder. He played some reps on the defensive line now that Wormley's out. And then Mark Robinson, the linebacker from Ole Miss, played a little bit. Only 20 snaps between the two of them, but I did think that they were good. I just enjoyed that the front seven in this game really was able to dominate. It was like an old school, what if TJ was fully healthy? Because you saw TJ getting involved. He had a sack and a half. Highsmith now, I think, has 12 sacks on the year. I mean, he just had a solid year all around. Cam Hayward had a sack and a half. Now, the problem with this defense, Sonny, and you touched on it, I mean, there's the penalty with Marcus Allen, like that was one play, but I don't think that that's why the Panthers completely stayed in this game. The problem for the Steelers has been this defense. They're good. It's like this good, not great thing that they do. I mean, I would say that this game here wasn't necessarily a dominant performance overall from the defense. It was a good performance, but it wasn't great. They didn't get any turnovers in this game. That's 2 games in a row now of 0 takeaways for this defense. And they just do this thing where it's this lack of complementary football from this defense that's driving me nuts this year. You saw this back in that Cincinnati game, and it reared its head again. The Steelers defense allowed points on 2 of the 3 drives after the Steelers offense scored. And that's so unlike this Steeler defense in the past has kind of had to live in the world where, we have to kind of drag this offense to a victory. And yet this year, it just feels like anytime the offense is playing well, the defense decides like, all right, we're taking this series off. The Steelers started this game with that 11 play, like old school pound the rock touchdown drive to start this game. And the defense immediately allowed right back at him. Oh, well, what if we allow our own 11 play touchdown drive, right? 85 yards right down the field.
Dude, so that third quarter opening drive, that's when you knew it was over.
Oh, baby. That was the great, that I believe had the Deontay penalty in it because that was they opened the second half. I'm going to tear up just talking about it. 21 plays, 91 yards, took 11 minutes and 43 seconds off the clock. If you're older than 30, if you remember the Bill Cowher era, if you remember Jerome Bettis and Barry Foster and Bam Morris and that era of Steeler football, this was the best. That was the best. It was the best. That drive was the best. And what happened right after that drive? Oh, the defense allows an 11 play, 64-yard field goal drive of their own, right? I mean, it's like that kind of stuff is what drives me nuts about this defense. But again, as I've talked about since the bye week, that defense is going to go through some slight rebuild in the offseason. Offensively, though, that's where things have to get better because, look, you're not rebuilding the offense year over year, right? You're not going to rebuild the quarterback position or the wide receiver position or the running back room or the tight end room, right? You can do some things to the offensive line, but at the end of the day, this is the offense that it's going to be for the next couple of years. And what I've loved to see over the past 6 weeks is that this running game, I mean, it's looking good. I know you're saying Najee didn't have a great game, and that if you ignore what happened in the first half, and then and that 21 play entire third quarter drive, sure. In the fourth quarter, yes, they didn't run the ball as well, but they did actually, because remember they put the game away at the end, which is another thing this offense has been able to do at the end of games, is put games away. Yeah. So I think Najee certainly looks like a different player. He's running angry. That play at the beginning where he juked out Jeremy Chin, and then he was one-on-one with a player in the secondary. I mean, that player won. I mean, that secondary play wanted nothing to do with trying to take down Najee. And the other thing is this offensive line is starting to round into shape. This is not a completed product. I don't think this offensive line is a done deal.
They look good though.
I don't know. I don't even know what I would say they look good, but they're just, it's, as Tomlin would say, arrow pointing up for them. I mean, like they're certainly getting better week over week. I don't know that I'm ready to sit here and say like they have the 5 guys that are going to be the next great Steeler offensive line. But remember, everyone on this offensive line is 21, 26 or younger. This is everyone in their 5th year or less, right? So these are a lot of young guys. And so rounding into shape around this time is a good thing, because what it means for this offseason now, where the Steelers are going to have a ton of needs in this offseason. You're talking about the defense is going to need to add a corner. You're going to need a linebacker. You certainly want to rework that defensive line, around Cam Hayward and the like. And it turns the offensive line into a want, not a need, right? I don't think Omar Khan and Andy Weidel are going to go into this offseason saying, we have to improve the offensive line because, boy, we got disasters in there. I don't think it's a disaster anymore. I think certainly there are positions where you'd want to upgrade. I want to upgrade at left tackle. I'd love to upgrade at left guard, but I'm not going to sit here today and say they have to. I know that people will say like, well, level of comp is a thing here, right? I mean, the level of competition since the bye week certainly has gone down. But like, I don't care if they're playing Carolina or South Carolina State. I mean, this offense sucked in the first 10 weeks of the year. And I don't think anyone in the first
Carolina State catches straight.
Yeah, I know.
Why are you giving the 2021 Celebration Bowl champions a straight?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, no one was saying this in the first 10 weeks of the year. No one looked at the Steeler offense and said, well, that's a good offense, but the problem with them is they're just playing too good. The defenses that they're playing are too good. That's what's really holding them back, right? So I get that, yes, the level of competition has come down, but I think we can all agree. I tweeted it out, the numbers of like top 10 offense so far. The Steelers, from an EPA per play and efficiency standpoint since the bye week, are equal to the Cincinnati Bengals on an offensive EPA per play basis, right? Now, do I think the Steelers are as good an offense right now as the Cincinnati Bengals? Hell no. But I think it does show a level of consistency over the last 6 weeks that is, as I would say, an arrow pointing up for this offense. And as I've said, this offense is not getting rebuilt year over year. So this offense better look good, or this team is going to be in for some dark years coming up. And so I think that's why I came into this game thinking, boy, this is a meaningless football game. And I come out of it and I'm like, well, that wasn't meaningless, because again, what we're seeing out of this offensive line, what we're seeing out of this running game, as Herm Edwards once said, we can build on this.
So you're back to being Canadian, is what I hear.
Look, I'll give him this. I'll give him credit for this. I still probably would let him go because I still don't love. I just don't. Yeah, he just he's doing a poor job of working. I mean, working in Pickens, working in some of the playmakers. He still has this obsession with getting the ball to players. So it's like, why are we manufacturing touches for Steven Sims every week, and then George Pickens has 3 targets? Like, what are we doing? But I'll give him credit for this, because I gave Randy Fichtner a lot of crap for this back in the day. Self-scouting. The idea that the Steelers went into the bye week and they said, look, this is a problem offensively. We are not running the ball well. How do we fix that? And what can we do coming out? And in that way, like just from a schematic personnel perspective, Steelers have run a far more 12 personnel after the bye than they did prior to. And that's led to the running game getting going. And obviously you've seen kind of a trickle down from there. Also, trading Claypool was just a solid, super solid move. The Bears lost again, by the way. I mean, the Steelers are going to have the 33rd overall pick in the draft this year. And I'm just...
Yeah. You know what do you do if you're the Bears? Because like Justin Fields been playing too good for you to just take a quarterback. But
no, you can't. No, they're getting Will Anderson. Congratulations on Will Anderson.
Yeah, but that just never works out right whenever you do that. Like it's always you end up like, man, I probably should have just took the quarterback, right?
They could trade out and get a bunch of picks.
Yeah, they could do that. But you can't.
Let me tell you something. Trading out always feels great on draft day. It sucks 3 years later, though. You know what I mean? Shout out to Julio Jones. Remember Browns trade out? It was a brilliant trade on draft day. And then 4 years later, it was one of the worst draft day trades of all time. So, it's one of those situations where like your quarterback's playing well, but it's not necessarily resulting in winning. So like you're kind of in this position to take a quarterback, but like you can't really justify taking Bryce Young
Stroud?
over just seeing it out with Justin Fields because like
you're
it's not
not
like
taking a quarterback over Justin Fields right now.
that's what I'm
Fields is
saying.
not
Like
the reason
Justin
they're
Fields,
losing.
you can't really justify it. But if one of those hits and Justin Fields fizzles out, you're gonna look like an idiot.
Nah, I don't. Well, I mean, yeah, you always will. But like at the time, no one's gonna argue today like the Bears really need a quarterback. The Bears
Yeah,
really
I
need a lot
agree.
of things.
Yeah, but then you could be the Broncos, and they're like, we don't need Josh Allen. We're gonna take Bradley Chubb. And Bradley Chubb was good.
Yeah, but who did they pass him over for? Like who was their quarterback? Drew Lock?
Ooh. Yeah, it was Drew Lock.
No.
No, it was Drew Lock. That was the Drew Lock year, right?
No.
Or no, Drew Lock was Justin Herbert. Why didn't he get Justin Herbert?
They went through a
Drew
bunch
Lock
of
won a
different
game that
Was
would have
it Joe
got them
Flacco?
Justin Herbert if they
Yeah,
would
well, I
have
was
lost.
gonna say, was it Flacco?
They had Case Keenum. I think that was
No,
the
that was Case Keenum. This is post Case Keenum. I remember the Case
they
Keenum.
was
They didn't
Flacco.
have anybody, I don't
Had to
think.
win Flacco, right?
Flacco.
It might have been the second run of Brock Osweiler.
No, because they gave us a 4th round
No,
pick
no,
for
no.
Flacco.
Yeah, for Flacco, yeah, because Elway loves tall quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Josh
I
Allen!
know. Well, no, I got it.
He's what everybody thought Paxton Lynch would be.
Oh, by the way, I guess I should apologize, South Carolina. I got people mad in chat right now about South Carolina. So I apologize. I didn't. It was a turn of phrase. Okay, South Carolina,
Probably
South
meant South
Carolina,
Carolina.
had a ring to it. Right? It had a ring.
Okay, Ace, what do you think on this game?
Yeah, this was the one where I think I picked the Steelers going into this one. I just felt like they were going to play more aggressive. I do not believe in Sam Darnold since we're talking about the 2018 NFL draft. Never believed in Darnold. This
That
one was a
Cowboy
hard
draft
watch
is
at
miserable.
first. It actually was more entertaining than I initially expected because even as an opposition, for this game to be entertaining, I had to see like what Kenny Pickett brought to it. Being that it was going to be Mitch Trubisky, I didn't expect much. But I do think, even though Najee didn't have a great yards per carry in this game, I think he did look good in this game. He had a couple of explosive runs here and there. I thought that Deontay Johnson did very well. It's still weird that he doesn't have a touchdown on the season yet, but I think that, he's finally getting his rhythm going. I felt like Pickens made some plays. Felt like the defensive line really came alive in this one, primarily looking at guys like TJ Watt. I think even Larry Ogunjobi, I saw him get some push
Yeah.
in the game as well. So I think the Steelers just took care of business. This is what they kind of expected to do. DJ Moore, I think, was the only person that I really noticed from the Panthers make a play. I think he caught like a crazy touchdown on that corner there.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the Steelers just did what you kind of expected them to do. I thought that Jaylen Warren kind of having an increased role in this game, that was pretty cool to see as well. But they pretty much did what I expected. I mean, it's the Panthers. They came in, got the W, and I think that they just try to build on that and keep moving forward. I'd like to see more Kenny Pickett, though, because I know I was about to say Mason Rudolph. Mr. Trubisky is not the quarterback going forward. I actually wanted to see if Mason Rudolph was going to get some playing time, but Mitch didn't put them in an opportunity for him to come in and do something there. So I think they took care of business and just did what they needed to do.
Cute.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on the same page as Ace here. The Steelers are a bad team, yeah, but they're not like abysmal.
They're not.
I believe the Carolina Panthers to be an abysmal team. You know what I mean? Like I believe them to be that. So I always say this when it comes to the Steelers. We call it Tomlin games, we call it whatever, but it's like competence wins you football games in the NFL. And the Steelers, even though at times it looks like they're not, they're usually more competent than the team that they're playing against. And that always helps them out. So yeah, it's kind of all.
But see, like Sonny said,
it wasn't really the case this
yeah, no, I mean in this game, like they did look a little. They looked a little.
That's where the whole.
That's what the whole.
Well, I mean, like even like if you look at Carolina roster, like Steelers have a better team than Carolina.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is. By the way, is Jaylen Warren better than Chuba Hubbard? They both came out of the same school, right? Or was Jaylen Warren Oregon State?
No, you're right.
They're both
Same
Oklahoma
school.
State.
Same school. Jaylen Warren is.
He has the most explosive 3.6 yards per carry I've ever seen in my life.
I'm telling you, you guys know the kind of player I love, and Jaylen Warren fits that team. By the way, Mark Robinson on the defensive side, he's basically the defensive version of Jaylen Warren. He just throws his body around like a maniac inside linebacker.
That's why Tony has a buy-in with Kenny now. It's the
See,
type
if
of
you
quarterback.
if you find if you guys ever are watching tape, and this goes for anyone, not just my co-host, but anyone here. If you're ever watching tape and you just notice a defender just throwing his body around like a maniac and flying around and finding the ball, please send me that tape. Those are my guys. That's what I love. Those are the guys that I love.
Okay, they grilled my guy Gio for that one play, but they didn't grill Brady for the 2 picks and 2 fumbles. Also, is it possible for a coordinator to win?
Coach
Coach of the year. No, they
Yeah.
have coordinator of the year though, don't they?
Yeah. Maybe.
Do they?
I
Don't
know they
nobody-
have it in college for sure.
No, they don't have
because-
that. Because I'm pretty sure that would be like the whole when you're hiring a head coach, this guy was a 2-time coordinator of the year. Yeah, I've been through enough coaching searches to know that that's not a thing. Okay,
Assistant
I
coach of
would
the
have
year
heard.
award. Yeah, they give this out.
They do not. They do
Yes, they
not.
do.
Like, is it
They
like an
do.
Associated Press thing, or it's like an NFL award, like an NFL honors?
The award is presented at NFL Honors. Do you know who won it last year? You guys are gonna
No.
love this list. Whoo, baby, they got some great winners. We've got some amazing winners on this list. Well, Dallas Cowboys, Dan Quinn won last year.
Okay.
Brian
Greg Roman's
Daboll the
there.
year before. And then one that I think this show
Greg
in particular is really gonna love is 2019 Greg Roman.
Greg
Won.
Roman.
Greg Roman won.
Man, I
Assistant
told
coach
everybody Greg Roman should
of the
run
year.
out of there and take the Arizona job the second he gets out of there. And he
You
stayed.
guys can't fire an assistant coach of the year. I mean, this is a guy, former assistant coach. This is like when we talk about Lamar. He's an MVP. He's an MVP. That's why he's in the best quarter. I mean, you can't fire Greg Roman. He's assistant coach of the year, guys.
Okay. Will Burrow be MVP if they win out and get 1 seed?
I think that helps his chances a lot, especially if Jalen Hurts. Unfortunately, he's going down. It was pretty much between, and I think Josh Allen just re-entered the chat. It was between Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts, and now you got Josh Allen. I think this drops Hurts out of it, unfortunately, just because there's a couple more games left. He has to get the win, I think, over Allen convincingly. And the only thing is there's a little bit of a gap in pass yardage. We'll have to see what the voters deem more impressive. I honestly think Burrow has a stronger case than most of the guys because guys like Jamar Chase went down. He's had his weapons in and out of the lineup, and he's been the constant to try to raise the level of play, but we'll have to see how it goes. I think it starts, though, with you have to get that win over Josh Allen, and you have to get the 1 seed. And for that to happen, Kansas City still has to lose.
They have to lose again. Yeah.
But if that happens, I think he gets it. Ace, what happens without Hubbard?
Sam Hubbard is tough because
this
Bengals team, they didn't go through many injuries last year. This season, they've gone through them. They lost Hubbard in this game. I still think that they did even not necessarily better without Hubbard, but this happened. I believe he was out in the second half. The second half of that game, that is when they got the most pressure on Brady. They're going to do some creative things. I think someone said that they used a lot of stunts and stuff in the second half. Yes, Hubbard's going to be a big loss. I think one of the biggest losses where you lose Hubbard is really on setting the edge in the run defense. But this is going to, in a funny way, give some opportunity to those guys like Joseph Osai and the guys behind him to see what you have there. So definitely a big loss, but the way that these guys have been playing with the next man up strategy, we've seen it in the secondary. I think that it could trickle down to the edge room as well.
You bet if Browns win last game, Steelers, Tony eats chip. If Steelers win, QV logs getting Popeyes from the one on Buckeye.
It's a Cleveland thing. That's a Cleveland thing. No, there's no more bets. We're not doing bets. I'm not doing bets. Y'all not doing bets.
Why do I have to eat a hot chip? This guy gets
Popeyes.
I want fried chicken. What is this stupid
like a reward? That's not a
exactly. Like Popeyes is delicious.
The one in Buckeyes, it has one of them bank situations going on with the window.
The what?
So, like, when you go to the bank and they have certain things to make sure the bank won't get robbed.
Oh, I see.
It's one of those kind of situations.
I see.
Yeah, that's when you said it's a local thing. That's what you got it.
I mean, it's never stopped me from going to that specific Popeyes, but like I guess it stops other people.
Bengals win AFC North week 17 versus Bills. Okay, we caught up with all this. Let's talk about Bengals and the Buccaneers. By the way, Ace, you weren't here, and I was telling the guys that I was watching this game live up to the third quarter ish, and at that point, it was getting almost to 1 a.m. territory. I had to go to work, and I was telling them, my wife's like, "Oh, you think they're gonna win?" I'm like, "Nah, they're not gonna win." Meaning the Buccaneers. It's like, no, these guys already peak however many points they're gonna score, and they're gonna f this up. And second half starts with Gio fumble, which again, why are you going on fourth in your own territory? That was meant for that to happen. That's on. And then the next possession, Tom Brady throws a pick, and everything unravels after that. And it was meant to happen, right? Because Buccaneers, we said here, well, I said at least, that the only surprise will be if the Bengals lose. And even 17-0, I didn't even thought that game was out of hand. I thought like, whatever, they're fine. Saying that, Ace, how are you feeling? Because you were there live.
Yes, I was there live. I got several of my friends that are actually Bucks fans. So before the game, they were kind of telling me where they were at. And there's kind of like a civil war going on between Bucks fans, guys that like Tom Brady, guys that think Tom Brady's the problem, guys that want to move on and put Kyle Trask in. Yeah, it's
the Tom Brady wars because Tom Brady brings his own fans. This happens with quarterbacks. Whenever somebody brings their own fans and that quarterback start playing a little dookie, and people who are fans of the team go, hey, maybe the dude who's playing like dookie should not be in no more. Oh boy, that I know what that is. I feel bad.
Sure. Yeah. So, coming into the game, most people kind of felt like this would be a game where the Bengals kind of got out. I didn't really go with that because looking at the splits, with the Bucks at home and the Bengals on the road, I kind of felt like this game would be a lot closer. Tampa Bay, I talked about going in, was like second when it came to passing yards. And that's what's kind of started off with the game, right? Like I sat there and I'm like, all right, Tom Brady, he's attacking this young secondary because you had Cam Taylor-Britt in there. You actually had two rookies because Daxton Hill got the start in the slot with Mike Hilton and the backup corner Jalen Davis being out. So they were tested early. And I don't know, like sometimes it's confusing because I don't know if Lou does this thing where he tries to make stuff look like it's open in the first half and then he completely changes it. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe Brady is just picking this defense apart. And, at first I'm watching it. I'm like, all right, offensively, we're not doing anything. I've seen this before. I've seen this with this Bengals offense on the road. We're a second half team. It's funny because my wife is sitting there. She's just like, what's going on? What are they doing? Like, and I'm like, second half, just wait until the second half. It's going to change up a little bit. I think at this point it was 17-3. And, I get on Twitter and the Bengals cynical fans, they're out there saying, oh, we're going to lose this game. Here comes Zach Taylor. And I'm just like, in my head, just the football player in me is just like, all right, well, if they come out in the second half, they get a stop, they score a touchdown. It's a one-score game. They stop them again. It's a tie game. So I'm like, let's relax. Let's calm down. So in the second half, I was wondering what would happen because I knew Lou was going to change it up. I knew he was going to make everything that Brady saw in the first half not look as easy because there was just so many open passes. I was like, something is weird here. You get the play with Gio, which the reason I feel like the reporter kind of came at Gio, I thought the decision to go for a fake punt on your own 20-yard line was the stupidest coaching decision. They should have been talking to the coach because that was a dumb Madden brain decision for them to do it. And I couldn't believe that they did it because I was sitting there like, are they really going for this? They really went for the fake punt? Literally every single turnover from then on, pretty much.
Even if somebody does that in Madden, you're like, bro, did you just hit the wrong button? Like,
right. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. The turnovers definitely fueled the comeback. You talk about the Trey Flowers interception. You had the Brady fumble. There were so many. I was just like, wow. And the guy next to me was like a diehard Tom Brady fan, had never been to any of the games. I think he was from Boston. I felt bad for the guy because I was like, of all Tom Brady games for you to show up to,
annoying.
This is the one that you showed up to where he had 4 turnovers in this game. But I like what they did. I have to tip my hat to Carlton Davis. He played a hell of a game,
Yeah,
I
he
think,
was.
against Jamar Chase for sure. He definitely was one of the reasons early on that we weren't able to get things going. But as soon as they got it going, they just converted on the downs that they needed to. And the next thing I knew, I looked up, it's 33-17. And they pretty much just imposed their will for the rest of the game. And I knew that the Bucs couldn't score, but it was so weird seeing how hot they were in the first half. And in the second half, they just didn't even look like the same team.
But let me add this to your point. They look hot-ish. Like the defense looked good. The offense was struggling every time they went to. I mean, they went on 4th down and they ended up scoring, but it looked like it was forced. The problem was the Bengals in that first half. There were a lot. Evans was eating them. Right.
Mike Evans is a good receiver. Like, I think he's kind of underrated. Like, I get the sense from a lot of Bucs fans, he never gets like the credit of being like a guy that was at one point top 5, top 10. So I expected him to be good, and it kind of was a competition a little bit. Like when you really look at the box score, I didn't see this until after the game. It kind of was like Brady was like, these are my weapons and my receivers versus yours, because he was going to Gage, he was going to Chris Godwin, he was going to Mike Evans, he was going to the tight end Cotton, and it kind of was that back and forth. It really was just that we just converted on those turnovers. Like, honestly, we took the turnovers that they gave us, we cashed them in, and by the end of the game, the Bengals had won the game. So it was crazy though, because being at the game live, there were a lot of Bengals fans there. I would almost say we were 50% of the stadium, and it was hilarious hearing the Who Dey chant, and I heard people could hear it on television, and being able to do that outside of the stadium. But, you know, Tom Brady is just seeming like he's just not the same guy that he used to be. They definitely tried to play hard in that game. But the thing is, they announced it like before the game even started. Even though they lost that game, they're still first place in the NFC South because of how bad that division is. So yeah, Bengals went out, took care of business. They came back. Apparently, I have a streak now. Every road game that I've been to, they come back and win the game. I went to the Saints game. Now I get to see this comeback. So hopefully the Bengals just keep it pushing. And next week we take it on to New England. So we're on to New England now. But yeah, they went out, took care of business, did what they needed to do.
Did you just Bill Belichick? Did you just Bill Belichick?
On to New England. Forgot about that, Bill.
By the way, congratulations on the streak of never seeing your team lose I've actually never seen my team win a road game. So
I mean, he saw his team lose on the road in 2022.
Yeah, I did, unfortunately.
Oh, I see.
On the biggest stage.
We would be living in a different world if he didn't, this year. That would be a different world.
Neutral site. That was a neutral site. It was
a neutral site. I mean, I know every LA home game is a neutral site game, but that wasn't LA against the Rams.
Yeah, but I mean,
at their home stadium.
LA technically doesn't. By the way, this crowd thing that's because you talked about it. You could hear Bengals fans on the TV broadcast. I mean, you could hear the Who Dey chants on the broadcast. I actually got invited. A couple of buddies of mine texted me during the Steeler game, like, "Hey, drive to Tampa right now. We have tickets to the game." That's it.
That's always weird, Tony. Like when people show up that aren't fans of the game, and then they have like different jerseys on.
Yeah.
That's always weird.
I would have done that. I would have shown up in a Kenny Pickett jersey. 100%. I would have been that guy.
That is weird.
It's like, hey, look, I got to make sure that I'm not one of these fans.
In Carolina, they show. So if you watch the Najee touchdown, the first Najee touchdown, when he scores, the camera cuts to like a shot from ground level behind Najee. I mean, it's all Steeler fans in that Carolina stadium. It is kind of crazy how like the NFC South. Because it was the same way for you in New Orleans, right? I mean, weren't there a ton of Bengals fans there?
New Orleans, it was like, which that was a little.
Well, I mean, look at everybody's
LSU. You got Chase, Burrow. They kind of have a connection there, but the Tampa, it was just, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then when I was at the Falcons game, it was a lot of Browns fans.
Yeah.
I mean, the Steelers Falcons game was a home game for the Steelers.
What else was a home game? The Houston Texans at the Browns. That was versus the Browns. That was a home game for the Browns.
Q, what do you thought about this game, man?
Oh, Tom Brady stinks, man. Like Tampa Bay stinks. Like I don't know what else there is to say about them. The only saving grace you can say is, hey man, maybe Tom turns it on in the playoffs. But if that's all you got, that's literally all you have for Tampa Bay. Everything else stinks. And honestly, if Tom Brady were subbed out with Jimmy Garoppolo, they would have a better record and you would have a worse opinion about them. That's how bad Tom Brady has been. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that he's Tom that nobody's going to go all the way with it, but they're not a good team. It should not be. You know why I had so much ease predicting that they were going to lose this game when they were up 17 points? I wish I would have live betted it, to be honest with you, because I probably could have made some money, right? But you know why I had that confidence? Because I watched them play, and this is a part of the script sometimes. They go up, you think, oh, Tampa Bay figured it out, Tom figured it out, and they just implode. They're not a good football team. They're bad. That's not to say that this means anything less for the Bengals, but this is more about Tampa Bay just being who they are, which is just a fraudulent football team. And the only thing saving them is Tom Brady and the fact that the rest of the NFC playoff race, like a majority of it feels fraudulent there too, right? So, I just don't know what to make of the well, I know what to make of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the Bengals, like they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the AFC. I think that it's them and Buffalo on 1A and 1B right now for coming out, and I think maybe you could throw Kansas City in there, but I don't think Kansas City beats Cincinnati again. I don't think Kansas City beats Cincinnati this year. So yeah,
I think 4 times in a row. You think 4 times in a row?
Yeah, if Tyreek Hill were on the team for all 4 games, sure, I would think that Kansas City would get one. But I don't think Kansas City poses that much of a dynamic threat to this Bengals defense without Tyreek, because the one thing that the Bengals don't have is somebody who could keep up with those burners, right? Like when it comes to their corners, like that's what missing Cheeto hurts for them. Not that all they could do is really run Juju underneath and really like kind of get you and salt and pepper you with Travis Kelce. They don't have a real like way to punch through that defense like they did last year. And I just don't see it matchup wise for them unless the Bengals play like obscenely terrible. Well, not obscenely, but unless like Joe Burrow has like a 2 interception game or something like that. The Bills are a bit of a matchup problem for the Bengals, I would think, or at least more of a matchup problem. But I got to see what that looks like, and we will pretty soon here. So there's not anything new I learned. I went into this game thinking the Bengals are very good and the Bills are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are very terrible, and I left this game confirmed in those results. By the way, shout out to the Amber Alert. I don't know if it went across y'all phones at home, but there is a Nova Stone missing. He was wearing a men's medium Tom Brady jersey.
Wow. Okay. He was here today, but we got to give him credit. He did super.
Oh, he was here. Okay.
He's super chat. He's super chat
right at the beginning of the show. So I don't know if he stayed for this segment, but he did make an appearance at least.
Last seen standing outside of Gillette Stadium. You know what I mean? Standing outside of Gillette Stadium trying to reminisce in the old days. You know what I mean? I was watching the video of Tom in his Patriots uniform, and it looks weird, don't it? Like, you ever watch one of those clips? Like, oh yeah, I forgot he played for them.
Forgot when he was good, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, he was good one year in Tampa Bay.
Tony will tell you the bubble doesn't count.
COVID year doesn't count. Yeah, exactly.
It's a blip.
COVID year is fraudulent for everybody.
Yeah.
Think about who won the titles during the COVID years, and then explain to me
who
how
won
those
in
teams
baseball. Did. I know.
Lakers. Dodgers. Did the Dodgers win it all that year? I believe it was the Dodgers. The team that chokes every year, and then they didn't choke the one year was COVID. Interesting.
Yeah.
The Lakers. LeBron's
Lakers.
No.
Sorry, Ace, but
who won the Stanley Cup?
And with that, okay, that's the one we can't talk about because that one was a lightning day. I won it the next year as well. So this is the one
so it just busts your whole theory. Did the Stanley Cup just destroyed your whole theory?
Hockey doesn't matter. Hockey's not a real sport.
Hockey never has fans. Is that what you're going with?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Tony, any thoughts on this game?
Well, let's say hypothetically speaking that.
And by the way, one thing that the fans wanted to know last week was who you wanted to. We were talking this pre-screen. Who you wanted to win more? If you have an option between Super Bowl,
that's
Ravens, Bengals, Browns, or Tom Brady, doesn't matter what team he is.
So the scenario here is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl versus any other AFC North team but Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so I talked about this a little bit on before the show with you guys.
Austria, yeah.
Baltimore Ravens, I would buy a Lamar Jackson jersey. I don't care if I would actively root for them to win the game. No doubt about it. I don't care if the Ravens already have Super Bowls, whatever. They win another one, great. Who cares? Now, the problem with the other two.
Oh, the other three with Brady.
Okay, well, Brady, I'm never cheering for. Okay, I'm never actively going to cheer for
So
Brady.
what happened is just Bengals and Brady, or Buccaneer, or Bengals and or Browns and Brady.
I think I just don't watch the game. I think I just.
Which one do you want to happen least? The Browns versus Brady, or the Bengals versus Brady?
The Browns one is tough because I can't cheer for the Browns because I need, the idea of like that's like the loser franchise. They've never even been to the Super Bowl, right? And they've won like one playoff game in their existence.
I mean, like that's so much.
And that was, by the way, during the COVID year, also doesn't count.
We go erase the 11 wins off of Ben's record to the 12 wins.
Just saying, I'd rather do that than I'll erase all 11 wins. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, you can have all 11 of those. But anyway, the other ones, I can't choose.
USC
I really don't
in
want
2007.
Now, let's talk about this game real quick. Because let's say, hypothetically speaking, that you were the kind of person that really disliked the Bengals and you also really dislike Tom Brady, right? Let's say, hypothetically speaking. Hypothetically, I don't want to name names here. We'll see. You would really enjoy this game. You would have really enjoyed this game. You would have really, from start to finish, enjoyed. It was like they gave you a little of both. It's like, you ever it's like you go to dessert and there's two things on the menu and you really want both, right? I got to have my cake and eat it too in this game because in the first half, I got to watch Joe Burrow. I mean, struggle. And it was perfect because it was like everything I always say about the team, which is, man, they got big plays, but they just can't move the ball consistently. It was like the first drive was like bang, 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 interception, and then 3 and out. And I'm like, oh, maybe this is like the perfect thing. And then in the second half, it's like, no, but I actually hate. But then I'm at halftime, like, man, I don't want break. At halftime, I had this realization of like, this is why I was like this Q. I went on like my own version of a Q rant. Where I'm like, this is why you don't cheer until Brady's dead. You can't cheer until he's dead. Because this is what he does. He comes back and it's like, here we go with the friggin' Brady shit. And they're gonna win the Super Bowl now. Like, this is why we don't do this stuff, right? And then the second half starts and it's like, no, wait, timeout. Brady's just completely self-imploded. Like the whole team's like, argh. And what's great about that is I've seen this version of a Brady game 1,000 times, but Brady is on the other side of it. I've seen teams just completely self-destruct, and you're like, Brady's going to win this game. Brady doesn't deserve to win this game. There's no way. The ultimate play, and I actually enjoyed it, even though it was like this worst play of Joe Burrow's career by far. I mean, I think that's the 100% the worst play is when Burrow decides he's going to just like wiggle waggle around for like a 95-yard loss. I mean, the guy almost took a fucking safety. Excuse me.
No, he started that. It was like a 4th and down, right? And it was if he doesn't get it, they get the ball at the 10, whatever, right? It's just it's just a flip of field, right? But then he ran all the way back into their territory. I was like, what in the world?
No, it was unbelievable.
That was one of Josh Allen, like 2018, like classics where Josh Allen would run like 80 yards behind the line of scrimmage and take a sack.
But then they got called for holding, right? And so I'm like, okay, you know what?
Holding on a linebacker.
I don't love that, but I've seen Brady get that call 1,000 times in his career. So the fact that he got screwed on that one, good.
Dog, who was he holding on that play? Who was that linebacker holding? Tell me he was holding who?
Chase. It was Chase.
Why was the linebacker on Jamar Chase?
I think it was a zone coverage.
No, I don't care what coverage it is, dog. If you're wearing 54 and then Jamar Chase rotates into the slot and then you look up and you go, yo, that's Jamar Chase, check needs to be made or a timeout needs to be called, dog. That's like having Tiny Archibald try to guard like Kevin Durant. Like it's not, no, dog. Timeout. Adjust. We need to switch out of this, whatever it is. That was no wonder he was fighting for his life.
As long as I'm taking a victory lap on this one, watching my dog Leonard Fournette just fumble Ruski this one. That was what Brady and
you know do this big as Leonard Fournette is.
I mean, my goodness, I loved it. I swear, this was just football heaven for me for 60 minutes because I did have to have a brain switch at halftime. And yes, I had to cheer for Burrow. I had to cheer for the Bengals in the second half, but man, was it satisfying. Especially like just they kept doing the shot of Brady on the sideline where he's looking at the thing and he's all pissed off and he's pouting. I loved it, man. Loved that game.
Okay. Let's go with some super chat here. Don, your preseason rankings. I super chatted that Tom Brady will be ranked 5th if he was in the North.
You
How
were way
far
off. You were way off on that. What
He's-
Tom Brady is below Joe Burrow, he's below Lamar Jackson, he's below Tyler Huntley, he's below Jacoby Brissett, he's below
Kenny.
Deshaun Watson, he's below Mitchell Trubisky, he's below
Kenny.
Kenny Pickett, and then he might
Mason Rudolph?
be there with Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
He might. That's
Yeah,
why I
but
would draw the
he's
line. He's 8. He's 8 or 9. You know what I mean? 8 or 9. I
I
don't
agree.
know. We really haven't gotten a good look at Brandon Allen.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, let's not count BA out. You know what I mean? Just because Joe Burrow been in there, like, you know, he's out here teaching Joe Burrow stuff in the QB room too. So maybe he got some dog in him too. So I would not count out BA. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Who has the?
Is you trying to see Brandon Allen play?
No.
Nah.
You want to see him play Week 18 when they
You
got
trying to
to
break down some
I
Brandon Allen?
just got thrown off because I don't know if you guys saw this alert or not, but Willie McGinnis, that was
yeah,
a
I saw
crazy
that.
video.
Not good.
I did not see it, but we'll talk
Oh,
about it in a minute.
I might.
Who has the least stick with your team through ups and downs fans based in the division and league? Can't stand fans that give up after 2 bad drive. I don't know. The Ravens, you will see Ravens Twitter bitch about everything, but they will watch the game into his entirety.
Yeah.
Like they don't quit watching the games. You just hear them, oh, I'm not gonna quit, but you keep seeing them tweeting through the whole game, right?
I think, but isn't every fan base like that? Where it's like as soon
Yeah.
as something bad starts happening, like the whole
the world,
the world is quite literally ending in that very moment.
Yeah, I think all 4 fan base here are strong.
Yeah, I mean, like Steeler fans will definitely turn on a dime as far as like if you don't make the playoffs for 2 years in a row. I mean, everyone clean house. You know, like no fan base certainly in the division is more spoiled than Steeler fans for sure.
I would say they've been
cop to
pretty
that.
patient. It's been a long time since the Steelers have won a playoff
Yeah,
game, and they
yeah,
haven't fired Mike Tomlin.
Well,
you know what I
listen,
mean?
consider that
Someone
the
was
only
definitely
thing
saying-
you guys have is a COVID year. Then it's actually been infinitely long for the Browns.
Someone was definitely saying,
Oh, you
fire
can't just erase
Tomlin
years.
last week, and it was like, yeah, we haven't made the playoffs and the Jaguars or something. And everybody was like, you're a Steelers fan. You just won a Super Bowl like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I mean, look, man, it's been since what? I was in college. What 27? That was 2016, right? The last time they won a playoff.
2007?
2016 is the last time they won a playoff game. Yes, they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's a long
Last
time,
time.
man. You know, and they've been the
6 years.
Browns
Yes,
ain't
and
won a
it's very-
playoff game in
Mahomes.
3 years. We already trying to fire Kevin Stefanski. You know what I mean? Like, that's a long time to be patient. How long did Marvin go with? Well, I mean, Marvin never got a playoff win.
That was the year before Mahomes, then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
2
that
years
was the year before Mahomes, because he got drafted in 17 and didn't play till 18.
Mhm.
Was Andy Reid there? Was it Alex Smith?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
owned Alex Smith. Our
Crazy year,
defense owned
28.
Alex Smith. Ooh.
Do you guys realize how crazy of a year 2018 was? Like Patrick Mahomes was emerging on the scene, Lamar Jackson was emerging on the scene, Josh Allen was out there, and then Baker Mayfield was getting all the press. Like,
He's still in commercials more than some of them.
that's good. Look, the power of your agent matters, y'all. You know what I mean? The power of your agent. It don't
He has a
matter.
good agent. Wherever it is.
Whew.
JK, another 100+ rush game. That L is all on Giro. Should have stuck to the run. Ravens will bounce back. That crown is ours.
Remember that video of that Pee Wee football kid? He's like, look, this one ain't on us. This one is on the coaches.
Oh, I love that. I need to find that one. Gio Bernard equals Cincinnati sleeper agent. Well, Tyler Boyd paid him after the fumble, right? Or no?
Collusion. Hey, remember,
That's
Joe
what
Burrow
people are-
directly.
Not really getting much playing time in Tampa Bay. A lot of people thought, oh, it's a little revenge from Gio here, a little gift before Christmas.
And this game has corruption written all over it. You know what I mean? Let's talk about the day before where the Browns beat the Ravens specifically because Joe Burrow told them to. You know what I mean? Because he gave the order to Myles Garrett. All kind of collusion. There's going to have to be an investigation in the offseason, and the Bengals might lose a first-round pick.
They should. Tony, why do you hate the Bengals so much?
Oh, you
haven't
just started
even
watching the
been
show
at
this week?
Most competitive team.
Dog said, "Why do you hate us? We don't even hurt you."
It's the Ravens you hate.
Like,
I like
what
this.
have
I
we
like this.
done to you?
We're bad. Yeah, okay. Bruce, you got a lot of episodes of AFC North to catch up on. Start with what should you start with? Start with both reviews of last year's games. Start with I think when was it? After they beat, there was whenever I did the rant about, if you really think they're gonna win the division, bet on it. That was a good rant that I did. That was part of it.
Yeah, you got some bangers off on the Bengals in the offseason. Yeah.
No, not in the offseason. I'm talking about last year.
Oh, last year.
Oh,
you're talking about right before they made
when did the rival the question is if you're trying to tell the backstory of
it started that
versus-
offseason, honestly, when Bengal fans were dead ass serious about making the Super Bowl and nobody thought they were gonna make the Super Bowl. And then they did it. Just watch the summer arc. Just watch the summer 2021. Because I was higher on Baker Mayfield than anybody in the world at that time.
True.
You know what I mean? It was a time, dog.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ace was arguing for Panay Sewell at the time. Look, it happens. I mean, we all have opinions. We just moved off of real smooth because the evidence pointed in a different direction.
Bobo for POTUS.
Bobo, like the basketball player, Bobo.
Yeah.
He's so overrated.
By the way, Bengals have more reasons to hate.
No, there's a section of Twitter that thinks he's better than Victor Wembanyama and all that. You know how people be on Twitter. They see 2 highlights and they just,
So with that, we made it. It's the marquee matchup of. You can hear my excitement. By the way, I had to leave. It's gonna be midnight.
Hey, Sonny. First time caller, long time listener. Yeah. I'm just wondering your opinions on the coaching decisions made in that game, specifically going for it on 4th and 1 multiple times, sometimes close to your own territory. I'll hang up and listen.
Y'all really want me to go first?
Oh, yes.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
We are muting our mics so you can go first.
Look,
ISO, you got the ball, brother.
This was the worst coaching job that I ever seen by a Ravens coaching staff, especially on offense. We're talking about Tony asked me Sonny, was that the worst Ravens game that you ever watched? I said, well, watch Miami last year was rough. But in Miami, they looked like they were trying. Miami had a better game plan. It looked like they were engaged, but Miami was just the better team that day. Shout out to the Browns. No offense, because nothing that I'm going to say here is saying that the Browns had a bad game or they're not worthy of winning this game. But my goodness, I was in shock. First of all, guys, prepare for being demonetized. What the fuck are you going on 4th down again? Why? Why are you why?
How you gave the warning.
No.
It was hey, I'm about to drop this very controlled F-bomb.
You're telling me we haven't been scoring points and you're gonna leave points on the board? People key on the fact that they ran it with Ricard. Fuck that. Why are you going on 4th down? That's all. That's it. You stop there. No reason to go on 4th down unless you're at the end of the game. The end of the game. What? Go ahead.
Were the conditions such that it might have been a shootout? You would have to keep up with Deshaun Watson. was that something that you felt was a possibility coming into the game? Or did you feel like this would be a low-scoring affair?
I mean, I said that it was going to be 15-16. I think it was my score prediction. My wife said that I need to show. I just can't. You guys are poking me here. Let me try to stand back. Okay.
So 4th and 1.
Okay, so they committed this
on your own 5.
They committed this stupidity, right? It should be malpractice. And then you want to blame Giro. Giro has a lot of blame, but who decides we can go or not on 4th down? Ace, who do you think is it your OC or is it Zach Taylor?
Zach Taylor.
And Q, is it Stefanski or is it your OC that decides who goes up at fourth down?
That's pretty much always on the head coach, right? Like
All
that,
right.
even if they're not an offensive coordinator, they make the decision. Hey, are we going to go with the play that you called in the booth, right? Like they make the final,
Yeah, exactly.
even if
not
they
in
don't call
Baltimore.
plays.
Not in Baltimore. In Baltimore, we have a exclusive contract with AWS that feeds the decision making to see if we're going on fourth down, which is 90% of the time, yes, because the AI at that point is early in the game. What the heck? Just go for it, right? Look, then, okay. Then they're running the ball, right? We know the Browns cannot stop the run, and we prove it. And JK doesn't have right now that get out speed because he should have scored twice. He broke the lane, and this is nothing against JK. He just doesn't have that speed right now. And they get to the red zone. And they are running the ball so well. I think JK was averaging about 8 yards per clip, and Gus says they're about 7 something a clip. They get to the red zone and they say, we got here running the ball. Let's just throw it to see what happens, because why not? Let's just throw it. And then you go, Huntley gets a pick. By the way, the people that said that was a bad pass, it wasn't great. Go watch the play. I want to know what Deshaun Jackson was doing in that play. He looked like he didn't know what route to run. He stands, he goes, snap the ball, and then he starts running, and like he looks to the right, and then I don't know who was on the right side, but whoever was on right to him, like goes out, and he's like, oh, I'm supposed to slant in, right? And then he slants late, and Huntley just throws it as he's expecting the guy to be there. And then so Ward jumped the ball. So great play by Ward, but why is Jackson do that? But more than that, why are we not running the damn ball? Why are we not? We are, again, they cannot
How many
stop
yards
us
per carry
running.
did y'all have?
We had 200 yards, I think. 200 yards. 200.
On
Every-
13 carries. He had
Every-
125 on 13.
And every time we got to the red zone, we said, nah, we don't need to run. We don't need to run.
God.
We don't need to. Now, more than that, look, because this, we get the ball.
God.
We get the ball on the 2-minute offense, and you're like, I think we're losing 6-3 at that point. Yeah, 6-3. 2-minute offense. Defense is balling out, right? The Browns they haven't missed a field goal yet, so they have been good, but the defense have been able to stop them to prevent touchdowns, right? So the defense is playing, they're doing their part. 2-minute offense, 3 timeouts. They're taking their time like there's nothing. Like they basically are saying, we're gonna burn this because we don't want to give it to the Browns.
The 2-minute drill.
But why are the Browns killing you on offense that you don't want to give them the ball? Why are you not being? That was the only time that you can be more aggressive. You can say, "F it, it's 2 minutes. Let's try to score." We got lucky that Mark Andrews leaked out in the one drive, and that gave us a 20-yard line to put Tucker in position to miss the field goal, right? But other than that, there was no surge of urgency. There was no let's move the ball quick, right? There were, and the other part is they weren't even running the ball. Because if you're saying like, well, we're just gonna run the ball, right? Because we're running so well, and if the clock moves, it moves. We can call timeouts and whatever. No, they're just throwing short little passes. Okay, here, 2-yard, 3-yard pass. I'm like, why are you not running the ball? If you're gonna throw a 3-yard pass, why not fucking run the ball? Why? Kids are sleeping. Sorry. Why? And then again, no surge of urgency. It's like, yeah, everybody here who needs to score a touchdown. What is that? We don't need a touchdown. We need a field goal. So it was perfect that Justin Tucker missed that. It was perfect because they played for the field goal with 2-something minutes to go with 3 timeouts. Why are you playing for a field goal when you have 2 minutes to go and 3 timeouts? Why? Like, again, I need something to go. I feel my, you know what, I'm hot right now.
Oh, is this? I was gonna say.
No, I was about to say we're not about to get the tank top season all week.
Yeah. I was gonna say shirt's coming off. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
We've only had that happen one time in AFC North talk history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. let me finish with this because I don't want to take too much time. But Harbaugh talked today. And by the way, for all my Baltimore fans here, if you follow Just Arabia, it's a good guy, a good follow to inside stuff. Any other media that was in that press conference that allows Joe Harbaugh to get away with stupid little questions and not press them. Why? Why are you there? Why are you there? To feed him what? So he can go? No. When Harbaugh tells you, well, there was 10 minutes to go, we were losing by 10. So I think, running the ball was not in the cards. But why? We're averaging on the ground way more than on the passing. Why is it not? Oh, because the time might run. Not if you're getting 15 yards per clip. What are you talking about, Harbaugh? Oh, we gotta pack. No, like if it is 2 minutes to go and you're down by 10, sure, or 3 or 4, 9:50 something. Why can we not run? We rushed the ball once in the fourth quarter. Once. And you know what? JK and Gus weren't even there. Why not ask that question? Media, Ravens media, why not ask that question? Can you explain to me why the hell are you in these press conference? I hate all these media people. I hate them all. Why? What is your purpose? Your purpose. Whoever asked the one good question that somebody asked, like, do you think we can? Basically, the question was framed like, do you think you have a coordinator or a coach that can take over Giro's play calling? And Harbaugh said, like, no, we had confidence in all coaches, and that was it. That was it. But when Harbaugh tells you, well, we had 10 minutes to go, and we didn't want the game clock to run too much.
10 minutes to go, I can't run the ball. It's crazy.
It's insane when you are averaging, like if you're averaging 2 or 3 yards, you can get it, right? If you're averaging 2 or 3 yards, you're like, well, we're not doing anything in the run.
You're getting 7.1. I'd be like, that's adding into Tyler Huntley runs. What JK was at 9.6 on 13. Ed Gus was at 7.9. Tyler was averaging 4.6 yards per pass, dog. Like that's a crazy statement.
JK,
and he was throwing screens. Like, wasn't like he was getting the ball in chunks, you know what I mean?
JK and Gus were on the field one snap in that fourth quarter. Again, where are these questions? Where? These are the things that you press on your coach because it doesn't make sense. Where's your accountability, Harbaugh? Look, we did the same shit when we played Tennessee in that playoff game. We were down 10-0 in the second quarter. Uh-oh. And for some reason, we said, you know what? We're just going to throw it. We're not going to run anymore. We're just going to throw it. And I'm like, it's in the second. It's like as soon as we're down by 10 points. 10 points is nothing in this effing league. We're going to say we can't run the ball. And again, that's the only success you're having. The Browns cannot stop you right now. That game, the Browns literally had no answer for your rushing. On the passing, they were there. We had a couple decent completions. But why not run it? And why is in the fourth quarter Dobbins and Edwards not there? Those are the questions. And look, Justin Tucker, shout out to him. He missed a field goal. And again, I think it was karma for that BS thing that the Harbaugh pulled out, or Giro, and that play calling for that 2-minute drive. And then he got the field goal block.
Ever trust the kickers. Don't play for field goals. You can't trust them, even when it's Justin.
Look, I trust the kicker. My biggest problem is, why are you basically playing for 3 when there's so much time? If you had 30 seconds. I mean by
trusting the kicker is like, hey, man, we don't need to score. We're just going to kick it. And you call conservatively from there. It's like that always backfires whenever every team does it.
My point here, Q, is why are you playing for the field goal? There's no, like, again, if you get it for 40 seconds, you have 40 seconds. You're like, let me see if I can just get enough yards to just kick a field goal. Who here thinks if you get two plus minutes with 3 timeouts and your team doesn't play for a touchdown, will be happy? You'll be pissed. And how is nobody seems in the Ravens media to be like, hey, Harbaugh, explain to me how we have the ball for two minutes with 3 timeouts. And we decide to basically no call timeouts, burn the time, and we're not even rushing the ball. Because if you're rushing the ball, I can get that. rush the ball because we're rushing so much, and the clock will move. We're rushing so much, right? Why? Can you explain that to me, Harbaugh? He will say some BS like, well, AWS over there says, probabilities. You throw it here, you throw it there. If you don't make it, at least the clock stops because we don't have a time. Oh no, we did have 3 timeouts, but you wanted to hold it because when the game and the halftime gets all zeros, you can keep those timeouts and you can roll it to the. Oh no, we can't roll it to the second half. Sorry, you cannot roll it to the second half. Anyway, I talk enough, and I feel myself getting upset again, and I had kids sleeping. So, can any of y'all take this?
I'll take on from here. Man, I cannot believe the Ravens gave us this one in this way. Dog, it made no sense how this game unfolded, and it went like all the Browns' direction. Because like we be real here, Browns really didn't get the run game going until those last 2 possessions in the fourth quarter. Everything else was pretty much like clamped down on. I felt like Watson probably had his most comfortable game back. Statistically, it's not going to look great because he only had like 161 for a touchdown. But I felt like he was comfortable. He was making some plays. He played a game in conditions like this in 2020 when he had that great year. It was a similar result, like statistically, to this. So it felt like to me that was just kind of the game he would have played in this condition and with this game plan. I could not believe the Ravens just were watching like Tommy Togiai run onto not Tommy Togiai, Jordan Elliott run into the field and be like, yeah, man, we not gonna run at that. We gonna throw this screen. Mark Andrews with 7 targets for 3 receptions. I mean, like the Browns, I guess they did a good job on him. I don't know how they had backup line. Like the Browns had Reggie Ragland in the game. You know what I mean? Like we had 3rd string, like Jordan Kuzniak, who's a special teamer, was playing significant Mike linebacker snaps. I don't know how the game plan wasn't to run at the Browns. And honestly, I say this with every team. I don't know why the game plan isn't, because you can do it, right? Like we've all seen it be done on the Browns. You can do it, and you could do it at a historic clip if you commit to it hard enough.
It was until we got to the 20, and it was like a no running zone at that point.
It was like they didn't get that 4th and 1 and just lost faith in the run game. You know what I mean? Like that like them not getting that 4th and 1 completely changed their plan going forward, because they opened this game just run. And you would think almost to the point where it's like, man, did Tyler Huntley coming back hurt them because they wanted to throw the ball more because Tyler was in there? Like, would they have been legitimately better off of a handcuff of Anthony Brown, because at least you're handcuffed and you're going to run the ball a lot? Like I was shocked because JK was unstoppable in this game, man. Like gash after gash. Every time we got him down for like 3 yards, I was like, oh, thank goodness. Like it was something to be seen, and they just stopped going to it. I couldn't believe it there. So yeah, Baltimore, I think I even tweeted out at the end of the second half, man, if I were a Baltimore fan, I would be very upset with what just went down in that 2-minute drill. I think like you and Engraven liked it. So I was like, oh, they must be angry for real. But that was just a weird one from the Baltimore coaching staff. I mean, the Browns did what they had to do to execute on top of it. Miles played well. Denzel played well. The secondary played well and everything else. And I think offensively, again, 13 points, you're not going to walk away saying that's a great offensive performance. But like 2 missed field goals, 2 really reasonable missed field goals by Cade York, who thank goodness they won this game, because boy, would he have a tough time, because he's had a couple of games this year where it's like, man, we stink because you stink. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of one of those things with him. So he had 2 missed field goals. I think only 9 drives in this game. 5 of them ended up in scoring opportunities for the Cleveland Browns. So the offense is like, they weren't finishing these drives as much as you would like to see them, but they were getting these drives. I think the only drives where they really struggled to move the ball were the ones where they got a penalty on 1st or 2nd down, or they ran the ball on 1st or 2nd down and got stuff for like 2 yards and they got behind the sticks very early on in that drive. So not all the way back, right? Because Deshaun Watson is one of those guys, if you do get into a 1st and 15, you're not supposed to be worried about, because he can get you back. You're kind of still operating on Jacoby Brissett rules, but the comfort is there. Some of the extra stuff is there with him. It feels like, okay, I mean, depending on what the weather is Sunday, but it feels like he's getting close to having a big game here soon. As far as like the issues the Browns have with running the ball, it's just going to exist, man. Our offensive line's not good. Wyatt Teller's hurt right now. He's not playing at half the level that he's expected to be at. Jack Conklin's not good right now. And our center's not good. So this is not like the numbers may look the same from the jersey perspective, but this is not the same offensive line from the beginning half of the season. And it's not going to get back that way until the offseason. These guys have time to heal. So it just is what it is on that front. Wide receiving wise, I feel like Amari Cooper, but especially Donovan Peoples-Jones, he's really taking a step here. Just when you can see the connection he has with Deshaun very early, I think that's promising for him going forward. Same thing with Coop, but Coop is like a all-pro guy already, so it's not like he's taking any steps or leaps or anything like that. And I thought David had some nice stuff in there. All in all, look, sometimes you got to win the games that other teams give you. And the Ravens gave you this one. They made some decisions that I would not have made. That being said,
Merry Christmas, Q.
I've also thought that they did a good job, and this is something I've seen the Browns been doing a better job of, is choosing their angles when they go after these speedy quarterbacks like Lamar and Tyler, because Joe's a little different. Joe's gonna let it spread out and run up the middle on you, right? He's not necessarily, I'm going to stretch it out, look left, look right, and then run from like outside the hash. He's always going to kind of just split that thing up the middle. So we always have issues stopping Joe Burrow runs. But the Tyler Huntley stuff where like he just kind of cuts the corner and tries to like get downhill whenever he decides one read and go, we did a real good job of containing those angles. So even if he did get positive yard, it wasn't for much. And they do the same thing with Lamar. So good stuff there. I thought the scrambling stuff that you saw from Watson was there. Also, like when we talk about the red zone execution, I thought there was a play to Michael Woods and Michael Woods should have went upfield on, and he just wasn't. He was a rookie right there. He didn't know what to do. He didn't make the play there. They didn't score the touchdown. And then on the other drive where they missed another field goal, I thought he threw a good ball to David Njoku. David just fell on his route and just wasn't in position there. So it's coming together there. Like you could see everything's coming together offensively for the Browns. It's not there yet on the scoreboard, but I anticipate that coming soon. But yeah, I mean, like I'm not gonna lie here, act like the Browns played like great. It beat the Ravens. Like the Ravens decided to lose this game for whatever reason because offensively they just refused to run the ball in the fourth quarter, and I could not believe that decision because teams have beat us running the ball in the fourth quarter plenty of time. But I guess this is not how they want to go. And the Browns' time of possession, right? They were able to get a lot of time of possession on those drives. That really limited the Ravens' choices, right? So maybe John Harbaugh is thinking, hey, the Browns just took 5 minutes on this last drive. We might only have 2 more possessions left. And it was a low possession game. Both teams only had 9 possessions. I mean, that also means that you probably shouldn't be going for it on 4th and 1 in your own, like in the red zone. But but it is what it is there. Justin Tucker missing 2 field goals. It was just a weird game. But the Browns get this one, and it's good for the Browns. This really mattered for the Bengals more than it mattered for the Browns. Because we barely have playoff hopes. I mean, we have playoff dreams. We don't have hopes. So this is good for, I guess, the division going forward. But that's really my thoughts of it. I'm interested to see what happens going forward, though, because I felt like he was comfortable.
Ace.
Yeah, for me on this one, I felt like the Browns just had the advantage just from the quarterback position. Deshaun Watson in that situation, I think both teams were pretty even. You talk about the run game that they both have. J.K. Dobbins had another good game in this one, Gus Edwards. But as you guys mentioned, they just stopped running at a certain point in this game. I think it really may have been just because the Browns started to get up there a little later in the game. In this one, though, I just kept saying I felt like there was going to come a time where if the Ravens played like they've been playing on offense, and it was going to come back to bite them, right? They were kind of playing a little erratic. This once was a team, like I said, that was a top 5 offense to start the season. They just don't even look the same at this point. Giro, I don't know if it's Giro. I don't know if it's the fact that they don't have weapons right now in the pass game with the injuries and losing all those guys. I'm not sure exactly what it is. No Lamar, right? So to me, it's not a surprise that they've struggled on offense. But this was just a game that I kind of gave the Browns just based off of them having Watson Still having Myles Garrett, which I think was going to be a factor in this game. Even though the Ravens have, I don't think we've given them enough credit for the pass rush, right? We used to make jokes on this show a couple years ago about the pass rush by committee and, Owe and these guys. We kind of get at them, but they still are playing very good defensively. It's just that they don't have the offense to go with it. So we'll see where they go from here. Hopefully, if Lamar comes back, it's going to give them a shot in the arm offensively. But I think, like Sonny is saying, if your calling card is running the ball, you got to run it when it matters. Like they ran the ball. They did okay. But it just was a one-dimensional offense that didn't give them the ability to make the plays there at the end. And I think that's what the difference was. The Browns were able to make some plays through the air. DPJ with that touchdown. Watson was able to make some stuff happen. But Baltimore just could not do it on their end. So the Browns ended up getting the win on this one. And I think we said even before this stretch, kind of after that bye week, we kind of said, this Browns game and the Bengals game were going to be the toughest for the Ravens. Those would be the ones that they could potentially lose. They've dropped this one. We just have to see where they go going forward. I still think that the defense is really good. It's just you got to be able to score points. And it never for me was that Roquan Smith wasn't a good acquisition. It was just kind of this point. Roquan Smith, unless he's getting a pick six, he's not going to score you points. He can't go out there and put points on the board for your offense. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get some creativity and get some points on the board. And that was something that Lamar Jackson has done for them, right? Like when the system breaks down and the Greg Roman offense doesn't produce, you could hang your hat on Lamar Jackson making some plays for this team to get on the board with points. Now you don't have him. Now you don't have the Batemans and those guys. So they're just going to have to see what they can do going forward. It just seems like really weird because the fans don't like Greg Roman. Some of the players don't like Greg Roman, but he's there. And so how do you just get to the end of this season? And so we'll have to see what happens with Baltimore moving forward.
Yeah, I actually don't think he gets the fan base obviously wants him to be fired. I think he might get fired, but in the offseason. I don't think Harbaugh will fire him mid-season. And to be fair, that can create more chaos on the offensive side at this moment. The other thing is, my boy PQ, go ahead.
I have a question. So, if they were going to throw the ball 30 times in this game, why did they go in with only 4 active wide receivers?
Because that's what we have.
I mean, you can't pick up somebody?
Who?
At that point?
Watkins is out there now.
Well, I mean, Watkins will be for next week. But I'm saying, you could have picked up somebody they've had 4 wide receivers for a little while, right? If the plan isn't that we're just going to run the ball, there seems to be a disconnect between what they do Monday through Friday when it comes to these waiver wire acquisitions and then what they do on game day sometimes that makes me question what is the relationship good between those two right now? Because there always seems to be something weird where you look at it why did they run that game plan with this personnel finalized for the final 48?
Yeah, no, I get you. By the way, Ace, I know you had to go, bro. Take care.
Gotta head out. Do some a little shopping for the kiddos.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
So what I would say is they have 4 tight ends as well, right? And they're using tight ends like an extension of wide receivers. So they go a lot of 2 tight end sets with 2 or 3 wide receivers, depending on the formation. And that's what it is. They basically don't have receivers. We have tight ends, and we're gonna roll with that. But yeah, no, I got you. The problem is if you track how this offense has moved, when Bateman, I said this a couple of shows ago, Bateman gets injured. Mark Andrews also gets hurt the following week, and then he misses a week. I don't even know if he's hurt or not, but after week 6, he hasn't been the same after he got hurt, right? Mm-hmm. So no Bateman. Andrew's not playing as he usually plays. In my opinion, very soft hands right now. When you see what he catches ball, defenders pulling the ball out of hand, usually you don't see that from Andrews. So when your top 2 receiving weapons are either not there or not playing to par because either they're hurt or whatever, well, the passing game is going to struggle even more because then Duvernay is asked to do more and he's good in that third role, not in the one role, and then everything after that keeps collapsing. But again, it goes back to my point. They have been running the ball well. I mean, to be fair, not even against the Browns. They have been since J.K. Dobbins is back. They have been rushing the ball well with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. So that's all you have to do, especially with a Lamar. When Lamar's there, you can say, okay, well, maybe let's throw a little bit more. But even I would say, even with Lamar there, if you're running as efficient as you were running against the Browns, just keep imposing your will. The touchdown pass to DPJ. I don't know if you remember this play.
Oh yeah, there was like a little curl in, and then
That pissed me off. That pissed me off too, because the defense has been playing well. Marlon is there, right, to make the play, not to intercept or anything. They're playing zone. He's there, and PQ Patrick Queen sees DPJ there, and he
thinks
says,
DPJ is going to stop and just
Yeah.
stand there for the curl. Yeah,
But my point is, Patrick, I know you just had a pick and you're excited to get another one. Marlon is there in case they pass it in the curl to stop him, right? Because it would have been like a 3 short from the goal line, and Marlon's a strong corner.
Mhm.
Patrick Queen abandons his zones straight, like goes like a bullet, and then DPJ's like, "Oh no, I'm not stopping my route here. Let me go." And it was just easy because
It was a
Marlon
Texas route. That was the thing. I think he got confused because they put DPJ in the backfield. It looked like 22 personnel because he was in the running back position, but I don't know how they technically categorize that because he's a wide receiver. But yeah, so they basically ran a Texas route, a little angle route with him coming out the backfield. But it had he waited, he hesitated to make the cut on the route, and it felt like Pat Quinn was like, "Oh, he's just running a curl. Let me move off of this," and then didn't remember that he was in the backfield. He's probably running a Texas route.
But not even that cute, because as soon as let's say he does stop. Let's say he does stop there. He abandoned his zone. Somebody could have come behind him and it would have been a touchdown as well, right? As soon as in a zone coverage, if you abandon your zone, you create a massive gap. And then as soon as he moved in, that whole middle, and it happened to be the middle, was wide open because they're counting on him being there. And Marlon was there. Again, if you think, okay, it's just a little curl route there, Marlon is there.
I think he cut off somebody's angle too to get to him. That was like, I hate to say paying attention, but that was looking at that, was aware of it. Sometimes that happens too, where a linebacker is looking at something else and he ends up getting in the way of somebody.
I think he got too excited. He thought, "Oh, curl here. Let me just go pick him up, or let me make the stop." And then no, they score a touchdown. That was the one touchdown in the game because you abandoned your position.
Gotta convert him to edge rusher, Sonny.
Anyway, Tony, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay. I think it's, Q kind of hit what I was going to say, which is, and I know it's going to make some Browns fans angry because no one likes to hear that, your team didn't win, the other team lost. But man, this was just a game where freaking Ravens, dude, everything that could go wrong in this game did. We've all seen our team play this kind of game before where you're like, what am I watching? Everything, quite literally, every single thing, every coaching decision that they could make ends up being the wrong one. Everything they want to do does not work. Even the things that Justin Tucker, 48-yard field goal, money in the bank, baby. He can make a 58-yarder. What are we doing? This is no doubt about it. And he misses. Well, I mean, Shanky Boy missed 2 in this one, by the way. 2, not 1, 2 he missed.
Which Shanky Boy are you talking about? It was Shanky Boys.
That's true. I did tweet that too. I did tweet Shanky Boys. Look, I don't come away. Unlike you guys, I don't come away from this one with any different feelings about the Ravens than I did coming in because I know that there's this whole their offense is poorly coached and the play calling is broken and yada yada. This team's not. Look, if this team can't throw the ball, right? If the thesis is we're not going to throw the ball, so we have to run the ball every play, well, they're not going anywhere. I mean, they're not going anywhere unless Lamar comes back. So I understand the bigger point though, which is, yeah, but in a situational play calling moment, right? That decision to go for it on 4th down early represents a bigger problem than just hey, they go for it on 4th down too much. It's not understanding the kind of game that you're likely to play, the fact that your offense is probably not going to score a bunch of points. And so, hey, we need to take some.
Well,
We need to take the
they've
opportunity.
been playing in these games for like a month now. How are you not aware is the problem, right? Like this was the same game that you played against the Broncos. It's the same game. Yeah. You know what I mean? How do you look at this game? Look at how the Browns offense had been performing, which is like they haven't had a bunch of touchdowns they've had 2 in the last 3 weeks, and then you haven't been performing that well, and just go, hey, this is a hot, like he called that like he was playing against the Chiefs. You know what I mean? Like this was a team that was going to put up 30, or like it's the Bengals game plan. Maybe he felt like Deshaun was back and that would change things. And maybe he called this as if Deshaun was still back in 2020 all pro form. But that maybe, but like, again, nobody asked him that in the post game presser. So like, we'll never know.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm going to say something that's probably going to age like milk. I mean, it's going to age like spoiled milk already. But I think the Ravens could end up being a really dangerous team in January, given what I've seen from them in the past 2 weeks.
You think so?
And yeah, and I know that makes no sense. Yes, I know. But here's because I'm looking through, because obviously you have to look through a lot of BS, right? I mean, it's like, man, this team can't do anything right. But I do think that defense is like look, they're not elite, but they're like figuring things out. They have problems in the secondary. They need to figure out Peters is going to be out, which I'm sure. I'm sure Sonny's actually, I wouldn't say he's happy about it. But yeah, you see him right there. It's like, well, you know what?
I want to see Stevens. I want to see what he does.
It's like how I think about Trubisky versus Rudolph. It's like, I don't like either of them, but who cares? Kyle
Hamilton's good.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton has ended up being a good player. And look, this emergence of J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards now, right? The fact that this running game is finding its rhythm at the exact right moment. This passing game is never going to be elite. But if the thesis of the 2022 Ravens is going to be, we're going to run the ball, we're going to go back to being a run-first running team, and then we're just going to let Lamar do Lamar things when it comes time for it, got to convert on 3rd and 7, right? No, we're not going to be like a very crisp, we're going to exploit, the open spots in your defense. It's going to be like, we're just going to have to let Lamar do Lamar things with whatever guys we got out there.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that being a dangerous team in January, especially given how games are decided in January, right? You go back and look at even the Bengals last year, but how they won playoff games last year. We think about, the Migos and all. No. They won the game because that defense played really well, and they won games late in football games. If the Ravens can kind of shorten football games and play like dirty football, yeah, I mean, I think the Ravens could actually be a dangerous team. Now, the next question is, not are they going to get there, but if they're going to have to start going on the road, if they don't win the division, they're going to have to go on these road games. Who are they going to be playing? Are they going to end up being the 6th seed or something like that and have to go on the road and play a Cincinnati again, or a Buffalo, or a Kansas City?
I can see it, by the way. I can see we play last week against Cincinnati and the following
and then run it back the next week. Yeah. So I think that to me is the problem with this team right now is, boy, you're really digging yourself a hole right now. You had the division, and now all of a sudden you're going to start digging yourself a hole to where not only are you going to you're just going to barely going to squeak in, but you're not even going to get the 5 seed, which would have ended up in a more favorable matchup. You're going to end up in that 6 or 7 seed.
We might, but I don't see it, because the problem is Lamar healthy? He hasn't practiced in 2 weeks at all. Not even limited. He has not practiced at all. We play Saturday, again, shorter week. Could we beat the Falcons without Lamar? We could. And ideally, if you win against the Falcons, and I know Q doesn't like this theory, but if you win against the Falcons and and the other 2 teams lose and you clinch a playoff spot, in my opinion, they should say, okay, Lamar, unless you're 100%, you're not coming onto the playoffs, because you need healthy Lamar, right?
I don't like that either. I think you got to get him in rhythm a little bit.
I mean, you can
have
that's the thing, though. Like, if he were playing like at peak form, but he's looked off for a while, and it's like, okay, well, maybe if he comes back this week, right, balls out, has like a classic Lamar game, and it's like, oh, he just got healthy again. I can see the argument for just like, okay, let's just keep him healthy if you clinch. But like, if he comes back and he has like one of those like sloppy Lamar games, you know what I mean? I feel like you need to get him back into his form, and he's not going to do you like. Let's not act like Lamar was like playing great before this too. Like, that's been the problem, is that he's been up and down throughout this year, right? That's why we don't feel great about the Ravens, because I feel like we all would feel like the Ravens, we would treat the Ravens more like their record says if we felt like Lamar was playing at that level, but he hasn't been close to that yet.
Now, Tony does have a point here. The Ravens still could win the division. It's to their control, right? They win the next 3. Doesn't matter if the Bengals beat the Patriots and Buffalo. If they lose to the Ravens and the Ravens won the next 2, the Ravens win the division.
Yeah, the Ravens control their own destiny.
So,
but Lamar still never beat the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll see if he comes back for Week 17. Him versus Kenny Pickett, big game.
Is Kenny playing, by the way? What is the status?
I don't know. I mean, he was doubtful, so it seems like he practiced in a limited capacity. So, but they held him out. So we'll see if he comes back.
Okay, we have, I think, a couple super chats. I don't know. I was ranting and
no, we got some super chats in.
Go Steelers! Let's win Saturday. You guys play Saturday?
50th anniversary, Immaculate Reception. They only played that commercial 900,000 times.
That's true.
In case you guys didn't know, 50th anniversary, Immaculate Reception this Saturday.
Oh, yeah, for real? Cool.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at this. I agree with this. How do you get a delay of game after a timeout? Look.
Yeah. That was one of the
you want to blame Greg and sure, blame him. But Harbaugh said that they had problems in Cleveland with communications before. And Hundley also said after the game that he was basically in every call, he was hitting just the back of the call. So he wasn't hearing information. He said that he was missing like half of the play call, right? But after the timeout,
That's not an excuse.
Why not tell him the play call there? You don't need a huddle. Why you need a huddle? You went to a timeout. Hey, Hundley, come here.
Dog, everybody's right there.
Yeah, you're gonna be called. This is the play that we're gonna be rolling. Blah 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 blah. Whatever play, right? Whatever the play was.
Mm-hmm.
The F. So you want to blame it on Giro? Fine, blame it on Harbaugh too, because Harbaugh said yes, we were having all game communication problem. Well, you call a timeout. Communication problems are happening. Hey, dog, this is the play we're gonna run. So,
or what? Or did they call a play on the sideline, and then while he was out there, like after they got out the timeout, they decided he wanted to change the play in the middle of that? Like, is that one of those things that happened where it's like, oh, they gave us this look, now we're gonna like switch it instead of having the checks in there built into the play call?
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things where it's like, okay, that could be on Greg Roman, because if his system is like that to where they don't have checks versus certain things, that's weird.
Well, Lamar has checks. Lamar checks all the time. I don't know if Hundley has that liberty, right? We don't know that. But that would have been a good question for a reporter to ask, don't you think, Q? That would have been a smart question for.
Nobody asked, how do you get a delay of game after a timeout? Like, was nobody asked that?
I think somebody said, like, hey, I know it's frustrating. What happened in that delay of game? And then Harbaugh said, well, you were having communication problem all game.
And nobody asked a follow-up where it's like.
Nobody. The question should have.
They call in the sideline.
Yeah, the question should have been framed. Hey, Harbaugh, you're having communication problem. There was a timeout being called. Why do you not relay the play there when you don't need to rely on the gear? Can you explain us that one?
Oh, I know what Harbaugh would say in that moment. When you go back, you look at things, and there's always things that you want to clean up. Ultimately, we made a decision there to go with what we did, and it didn't work out.
Yeah. So before the game, he had his press conference, and I usually don't hear them, and I wanted to listen to it live. This is why, by the way, Ravens fans,
that was the kind of game where you were like, I need answers.
Yeah.
What just happened?
I need answers.
This is why I would never, even if I ever, if we grow enough and we somehow can figure out a way to get a press pass, I would never get invited to these places, because I would be that guy saying, Harbaugh, WTF, explain this to me. And then when he tries to be poetic, because Harbaugh likes to then, go very grandiose. I was like, Harbaugh, I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. Can you explain to me like I'm 5? Explain to me how you cannot verbally communicate in a timeout, but you have to let him walk, I don't know how many yards, so you can relay through a headset. Can you explain to me how that's better? Yeah, that would have been me. But yeah, there's none of that in the Ravens.
They ain't got that dog in them.
They don't have one of those. Who they? Okay, sorry. Who they? I'm so impressed on how the depth of the Bengals team has stepped up. Offense and defense, amazing. Let's get healthy and close it out. Yeah, playing great. Titans centric offense and Ravens media calls it like an NBA team with no 3-point shooters. Not so
I
like
saw
the
some
Lakers.
people
It's not like
saying
that. It's not actually not like that. It's not like that.
I saw some people saying before the season that the Ravens have done the best job. Did more for Lamar Jackson than any other team has done for a young quarterback when it comes to supporting them with talent. And I was just like, wow, that's what y'all going with. Got in a couple arguments with them about it.
So
But
now
I was just like, I don't know how you look at that wide receiver depth chart and you go, yeah, man, they really put it together for the boy. Like, I don't know.
So for me, I go back and forth with this because I hear the argument. People are like, the Ravens did nothing for Lamar, right? And I disagree with that argument. And then they drafted, the Ravens never draft first round receivers. So, I mean, think about Flacco. I don't even know how many years Flacco was with us right now, 15, 14, whatever it was. They never drafted a first round wide receiver. And you never thought that the Ravens had this stellar wide receiving core, right? Well, Lamar, they did in 4 years, 2 times went to the first round and tapped into the wide receiving pool. They got tight ends and they bolstered their O line. What you can say is they had never said, you know what, we're gonna mortgage the future and we're gonna get all these other receivers. They're
Not even mortgage the future. They never just approached this any offseason like, hey, we have a quarterback in his rookie deal. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing that I always had it. Like it was like some stuff here for the defense, some stuff here for there. And they got caught. I don't know. We'll see how it ends up with them going forward. But everybody else was playing that game where it's like, hey, we about to do this credit fraud because credit fraud is legal. So we all about to do it. And the Ravens were like, no, we gonna pay everything that we owe on it. And they were kind of old school because they didn't want to do any of these like different new contract styles. So, we'll see how it ends up. But like also, some of these solutions out there weren't expensive. Amari Cooper was a 5th round pick. Like you could have gotten somebody if you were being a bit more aggressive in the trade market and willing to eat some cap. You could have gotten somebody. It was out there for you. And I just feel like now you're in a situation where like you tried to add draft picks around them. Those draft picks did not work. And it's not dissimilar to what the Browns did with their defensive tackle situation and why they're in such a mess. Because like we're in that mess because we kept duct taping around the position and duct taping, and now we're left with a bunch of guys that like didn't really pan out or get injured. So it's just that's my one criticism with the Ravens is like, hey man, once Lamar won that MVP and you went 14-2, I felt like you should have did everything in the world to feel like you should win the championship that next year, and they never did that. And we joke about the Bengals being the regression team, but
okay. So this is what I will say about that. And you guys know I'm not here the biggest fan of EDC. But on offense, he has tried. He has tried to sign players on receiving side. He has tried to trade. Like he was on the DeAndre Hopkins trade, but ultimately the Texans didn't want to trade him in conference, so they traded him to
for what they were offering in conference, though. Like what I mean? Like that's like if a team doesn't want to trade somebody in conference, that's called for you weren't offering enough for me to make this justifiable. Again, I'm not saying that he didn't try. I'm pretty sure he tried to get one of these guys, but I'm also saying you weren't aggressive enough. And ultimately, you can try to trade for whoever you want. If you're not successful with the trade, you didn't try to trade for anybody. Ultimately, at the end of the day, so it's like they had to be willing to pull the trigger, be aggressive, and something in their decision-making process was more favored on, hey, we want to keep these picks. We want to keep as many things as possible. We don't want to eat this and then give up that. So, they made that gamble. And I think it's fair to say 3 years into, Lamar's done with his rookie deal after this year, unless they win the Super Bowl this year, which I don't think is likely. Tony thinks it's a little bit more likely than I do. It looks like they made the wrong bet. We don't know what it's not guaranteed they win the Super Bowl if they bring in Amari Cooper or somebody like that. But you do feel better about the offense. And I think that's really what's stopping you with going all the way with the Ravens is that the offense sometimes isn't just bad. They look horrible at times. It's just that's one of the things I think people are going to look at in the future, and we'll see. Future will tell, and really have some regrets over.
The only thing I will say, now this is just personally, in the case of any quarterback, what you want, if you think that quarterback is elite, you want to have him with weapons. In my opinion, the first thing you want him to have is an O-line, because you want to protect him. And then you want to have enough weapons. But you cannot go in all on offense, because if that quarterback is elite, in my opinion, that quarterback should elevate the rest of the offense. But that quarterback doesn't play defense. So then you need to put some cap on the defense. Now, you can say the Ravens went too deep on the defense and a little bare on offense. That's fair. I think it's unfair that they say that they haven't done anything for Lamar. I think they have put...
I think the term is enough, though.
Enough as a word, yes. They put enough around Lamar. They didn't go like they went with other players in the league that they said, let me go and get Devontae Adams. Let me go get in the case of Kyler Murray, for example, every time a receiver gets injured, they're like, okay, who is the next best receiver? And they trade for him, right? That's what the Arizona's MO has gone. And so on, right? There's other players that they have in the rookie deal. They have, think about Jacksonville, right? They went and say, yes, we're going to overspend for receivers, but we're going to go and add a bunch of receivers. So yeah, they got done enough, but they haven't gone more in on the offensive side. So yeah, I can see the argument. I just, there's the narrative out there that the Ravens had done nothing for Lamar, and I don't think that is the case either. Again, not a fan of EDC here, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say like it feels like they put around him what you would put around a quarterback in the effort you would put around a quarterback that would be very adequate if he had already had his contract. His rookie deal thing, that's the thing that I'm like, you could have took on a big contract, you know what I mean, on the offensive side of the ball while you weren't paying him, especially when he was at 32. So before that 5th-year option hit, it was relatively low, given what his output was. And, you know, I guess the ideal was he was so dynamic on offense that you didn't need to add anything around it. But, you know, I think there are a number of mistakes there. I also feel like, you know, maybe he would have developed better as a passer or be at a better progression as a passer right now if he wasn't in such a limited passing offensive system. So, you know, there's a number of ways you can look at it, but we'll see what happens with the future. If there is a future with Lamar in Baltimore, shout out to that.
Demarcus Robinson, who does he think he is? And he's talking about the 2 fumbles. Demarcus Robinson likes, for some reason, to get the ball and put it out here, like in the ether.
That is why you were able to get Demarcus Robinson in the preseason.
Fair. No, if you want to criticize something that the Ravens didn't do this year, is they traded for Hollywood, or they traded Hollywood away. And even though I like how Hamilton is playing, I agree with you, he looks like a player. That's not the player that you needed. Linderbaum, yes. Linderbaum is a good signing. He has held his own. I love the signing, or the pick. But the receiver, right? Because right now, what happened last year when Bateman got injured, you still have Hollywood there, right? So you had a second guy. This year, as Duvern, imagine if Hollywood would have been here, although Hollywood had his injury problems over there in Arizona, you had 1 and 2 punch, and then Duvernay can be that third guy with Andrews also being the de facto number 1. You have more. So if Hollywood got traded, that was the problem. Who do you replace it? That if you say what should
Roquan Smith?
No. What if you think what should have Baltimore done? And this is something that I got pissed off. What should have Baltimore done? That 14th pick, it should have been in Tennessee's hands. Now I don't know if Tennessee would have traded with us instead of Philadelphia, but should have been with Tennessee, and we should have gotten AJ Brown. That should have been.
Oh boy, they would have. Oh my God, if the Ravens would have got AJ Brown, that would be nasty.
Yeah, that should have been.
I'm glad we live in the timeline.
But I don't know, because I can see Vrabel hates the Ravens. I can see Vrabel saying nah, because we're gonna face AJ Brown then every year. I don't want to deal with that shit.
Well, Vrabel don't get to make those decisions, because if Vrabel was in charge, AJ Brown would be on the team very clearly. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get to choose those. They fired the dude who gets to make that decision.
After AJ Brown cooked them.
After what was obviously happened. You know what I mean? AJ Brown been having a career year.
Okay, Benjamin here says, can we stop being so fake with Sonny and tell him that Lamar isn't coming back? Stop giving him hope. With no contract, disloyal fans.
Benjamin, have you watched this show? We were the first people telling Sonny that he's not going to have Lamar after this year. What are you talking about?
We've kind of the whole like is Lamar coming back thing. I think we talked about that.
I was early to that one. I'm not gonna lie. I was there. I was saying it before. This shit was cool to say. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I got disrespected by that super chat. Come on now, Sonny. Have I ever sat here and told you that Lamar Jackson gonna be here after next year?
You told me if September rolls and Lamar's not signed, he's going to Miami. That's what you told me in September.
And I told you that in June.
In the summer.
In June, yeah.
So saying that, guys, by the way, Tony, the one thing I will correct, I wasn't necessarily pissed off in this game. Because when you get so mad, then you don't care about anything. That's
you were nihilist, Sonny?
Wait, so you were a nihilist. Okay. All right.
In this specific game,
nihilist went that way.
Y'all ever lose a game so bad that you start wondering, what even is this football thing that we be watching? Like,
why do I do this?
It's so weird. Like, what is this? Like, you just start questioning everything. Like, this is just crazy.
Well, hobbies are supposed to make you happy, right? They're supposed to be entertaining.
Nah.
The Brandon Whedon Browns did that one to me. I was watching them. I was like, I could be having fun right now. I am 17 years old. Why am I doing this? And I stopped watching for like 2 weeks and I came back.
Benjamin also said for this season he's done for the year. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised.
So about his injury? I mean, like we can't expect. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll see.
He's supposed to come back next week. We'll see.
The one thing is, guys, something you guys don't know. I'm actually 26, but this team has put so many age. It's not my kids. It's the damn team. I'm dying a slow death with this team. So when in January rolls and I turn 27, but I look 50. Thank you.
That's how you know. Yeah.
And with that note, we'll be coming back here as for right now on Friday. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, hit that like also, and tell me how much you feel about all these games in the comment section.
Tell me in the comment section. Let's run a poll. Would you have went for it in 4th and 1 in the first drive of the game?
Was that a good decision or a great decision?
Yeah. Let me know. Do you agree with AWS? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I like the whole changing the name. I have never done it. This is my first time changing it. I can see where you change the names.
No, it's good. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's just like a bullet. It's like a sarcasm sign or something like that.
Yeah, you guys should try super chat in the show too.
It's like troll or super chat.
It's even better. Tell you what, it feels good, guys. It feels good. All right, are we out?
Take care, guys. See you later.